More days, 3 more sleeps until your team takes on the team from Philly in the Super Bowl. And live on Radio Row in New Orleans is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their 3rd straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Yes, they do. Was there yesterday in their New Orleans store. Not a lot of Chiefs gear.
Not a lot of Chiefs gear,
but a lot of big game gear.
Yeah,
a lot of huge game stuff.
Oh,
a lot of massive football game stuff.
Good.
A lot of gigantic gridiron stuff. Can't say the phrase. You ever understood that? Yes. Hey, real quick before we get into Mike Smith, I did see the internet and haters talk kind of really start to build up about, like, people make those strong opinions that you don't really like hearing unless you want to get fired up for a game.
Sure.
Nathan, let's get the city of Kansas City a little bit more awake here at 6:20 in the morning.
But I just don't think, as good as Mahomes is, that him alone is going to raise the Chiefs to win this football game, because when you look at every other position on these teams, I'm taking the Eagles. And look, Mahomes plays offense. He doesn't play defense. And I don't see that defense stopping the Eagles. And I just don't think, as good as Mahomes is, there's a reason why they haven't scored more than 30 points until one time, and it was last week. There's a reason why they sit in the middle of almost every category this season offensively. They're just not a dominant offense outside of Patrick Mahomes. And I know that's the most important position in sports. I'm still giving the nod to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mahomes is great. You can give me a million stats. He's great. The Eagles will outscore them.
I don't understand what people consume.
He doesn't play defense?
Who was that, by the way? Do we know who that was by chance who was saying
a gentleman
that?
by the name of Bill Calarulo from 97.5 The Fan in Philadelphia.
Who? So I never heard of that gentleman before in my entire life. And clearly that gentleman, Bill Fumblerooski, has never watched a game that involves Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that almost sounded like being a parent. Sometimes you tell your kids some things to get them to believe to do something, right? You want to convince them to get on that bike and ride that bike and they're going to be fine. And you damn well know they're going to fall off that bike and they're going to get their knee cut or their elbow cut. There's going to be blood. They're going to cry, and it's going to be
They're going to give
a
up
mess,
biking
right?
for a day.
Yeah, they're going to quit. We're not doing this. I'm out. I don't want to be any part of this. But you convince your kids and you lie, so to speak, to your children that it's going to be just fine. You're going to be great. I'm going to hold the back of the seat, and you're going to ride it, and it's not going to be a big deal, and everybody's going to be okay. That's what that sounded like from Bill Fumblerooski over there in Philadelphia, because it sounded like he was trying to convince his fan base, or maybe convince the Philadelphia Eagles, that what we've been seeing in Patrick Mahomes just isn't as good as everybody wants it to be, because he knows with Pat Mahomes under center and at quarterback, they're going to win just about every football game that they're in. And again, it sounded like that gentleman just is a dyed-in-the-wool stats guy and is looking at numbers and not understanding the involvement of Patrick Mahomes.
Well, he also just backtracked everything he said.
Well, I mean,
he's like, look, they don't beat anybody by 30 except for when they did last week in the biggest game of the year.
In the biggest game of the year, they scored 32 points.
They don't blow teams out. They don't have a dynamic offense. They're in the middle of the pack of every offensive stack. They're the number 1 team on defense when it comes to points per game.
That's right.
They're top 5 when it comes to giving up rushing yards per game, or top 10. They are Patrick Mahomes since week 11 has thrown 0 interceptions.
Correct. And they had that one turnover in the Buffalo game, right?
Yeah.
That didn't amount to anything.
But let's not talk about that. And then, let alone, how dare you forget that Patrick Mahomes doesn't play defense.
That's right. How dare you
forget at the very end, Patrick Mahomes, he's great. There's 1,000 statistics to tell you why, but you chose 2 to tell us why he's not.
Well, because there's only 2 that tells you why he's not
great.
You're
contradicting yourself. So I think, Nathan, we do have one more hatred video. Let's spew that a little bit more and wake up the city of Kansas City a little bit more with the Philadelphia love.
I don't care what happened in the last Super Bowl between these two. A lot of people will say, watch the last time they played. It was 38-35. Doesn't matter. Teams are different. Defenses are different. Coordinators are different in Philly. Really, the strongest point in this game is going to come down to how the Chiefs stop the run. But if the Eagles take the opening kick and put together a 12-play, 75-yard touchdown drive on the back of Saquon Barkley, and the Chiefs come out and go 3 and out, punt the ball away, this thing could get sideways. That's the other thing I keep hearing. Well, the Chiefs aren't going to get blown out. Why not? Why can't the Chiefs get blown out? For every time somebody brings up, the Chiefs and the Eagles game, 38-35, why can't I just counter with Tampa Bay, Kansas City? 31-9. What happens if Joe Tooney goes out of this game? How are the Chiefs going to block that defensive front with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis? There's a lot of Kansas City can't lose, Kansas City can't get blown out. Why not? Why is that the case? The Eagles can get blown out. Oh, okay. But the Chiefs can't.
Yeah,
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Who was that, Nathan?
A gentleman by the name of Sammy P on the BetMGM network.
Sammy P, baby. Sammy P. Way to go, Sammy.
Sammy.
Here's why the Chiefs can't get blown out, and here's why it won't happen, because Andy Reid knows how to scheme. Like the things we've talked about most this week are stopping Saquon Barkley, which they will, and now Jalen Carter's obviously the other big name that we talk about. Andy Reid knows how to scheme an offense away from the best player on the defensive side of the football. We have seen that all year long. We have seen Andy Reid scheme around his left tackle for most of the games this season. And if Andy Reid can scheme against his own players, don't you think he's got something up his sleeve? Like, people think that Andy Reid just wakes up and goes, okay, let's go out there and let's have a game and let's call some plays and let's have fun and see what happens. There's been 2 weeks of preparation preparing for this team with Andy Reid. And I'm sure Andy Reid has got a lot of stuff up his sleeve to not make Jalen Carter a factor in this game. And when you tell me that nobody can block Jalen Carter, you're being very disrespectful, in my opinion, to Trey Smith, because that's going to be the matchup that everybody wants to see. And everybody will tell you Trey Smith will be the highest paid guard on the market this offseason. And if you think he's going to be the highest paid guard on the market this offseason, then you think he's going to dominate in the Super Bowl, because that's where you make your money. If Jalen Carter goes out there and he's put into a sleep hold by Trey Smith's going to cash in even bigger when he hits that free agent market. So stop saying Jalen Carter's going to wreck this game when we have basically an all-pro playing guard going against him in Trey Smith. This offense is going to be just fine. Andy Reid is going to have plays that you've never seen before. They're going to do things in this game that have been totally unheard of, and the Chiefs are going to go out there and show you why they are still the kings of the football world.
Yeah, it's just I don't mind if you have a take about why you think Philadelphia will win. I mean, I could give you a couple of different takes of where I could see Philadelphia winning this game.
But it's not like they're saying Philly's going to win. It's all about what the Chiefs can't do.
That, and it's also, it's crazy that his reasoning is like, let's say Joe Tooney goes out. Let's say that, I don't know,
Saquon Barkley goes out.
Let's say that Jalen Carter gets hurt and goes out of the game. Same thing. Like, I can't play the scenario of, the Chiefs get blown out. Their left tackle goes out, and their wide receiver rookie Xavier Worthy doesn't play. Like it was stuff like that in that last audio clip, and we'll get to Mike Smith here in just a little bit, former Falcons coach in the NFL as well. But before we get into that, like, it's to wrap this whole hatred spewed stuff. Look, here's where I take it. I don't mind if you have a take, as long as there is some sort of educated background to it. You could be a guy off the street, come up to me and be like, I'm tired of the Chiefs. I'd be like, well, why are you tired of the Chiefs? Because I'm a Broncos fan and we're getting our ass kicked every year and it gets tiresome getting beat up that much. Perfect,
Fine.
dude. Yeah. Totally understand that. I want Philadelphia to win the Super Bowl. Why do you want Philadelphia to win the Super Bowl? Because I think if Jalen Hurts wins this game, he could be surpassing Russell Wilson's legacy, because they're basically on the same path. And if he wins one, he would have gone to 2. Russell went to 2. Russell won 1. He won 1. Okay, that's a solid take. You want to see more? You want to see more quarterbacks be, I guess, talked about in the same world. That's fine. But to have a take where it's like, why can't the Chiefs get blown out? Let's say Joe Tooney gets hurt. Let's say that Chris Jones goes out. Well, then, I think things are probably going to go bad.
Right.
And when you bring up the Tampa Bay game, make sure you also bring up that 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen were hurt for that game.
Right.
So let's.
Well, we don't, and the quarterback was hurt in that game as well. Yeah, the quarterback had a bum toe in that game as well.
It was also during COVID in Tampa Bay. So yes, I'm giving you excuses, but at least I'm backing why I'm arguing against your point.
Who were we talking to yesterday? I think it was probably Jay Glazer. We'll hear from earlier in the show. He goes, Patrick Mahomes hasn't even missed a game with a high ankle sprain over the course of his career, when most other quarterbacks are sitting out 4 to 5 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Like, it's just different, and I hate to continue to go back to it's just different, but it is, and that's why everybody's such a wound ball of hate right now for this team, because it's different and they just can't figure us out.
We go over to Radio Row interview session. This is Mike Smith that we're talking to now, and Mike, who's going to win on Sunday is the question we're asking you currently.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, interview's over.
Yeah, very good. Well done. Thank you for stopping by.
All right, you guys are clear. It's 10 minutes.
Okay.
Why?
No, I think
it is to win a regular season game in this league, right? Probably not the easiest thing in the world to do. This cat's going for 3 straight Super Bowls. How hard is it to do what Andy Reid is to do, and I mean by sustaining this success for generations?
Well, he's a generational coach. There's no doubt about that. And what he's done is never – what he's fixing to do has never been done before. And it's just an amazing feat, the way that he has been able to sustain his organization. And from top to bottom, right now, it's got to be the number 1 organization in the entire league.
Yeah. It is.
It is.
It's interesting, and I don't want you to think this is a shot at you because you're the winningest coach in Falcons history. You've got a lot of good marks on your resume. You and Andy Reid have the same amount of Coach of the Year awards won. Andy Reid's still going, right? Been done coaching for almost 20 years or more than 10 years now. What does that say about Andy Reid still doing all of this and just going unawarded?
Well, Andy's going to be a Hall of Fame football coach. There's no doubt. First ballot.
Right.
And the way that he coaches his team, I admire. I admire from afar because this is a guy that will put a game plan together, and he might have something from 17 years ago that he remembers. It just amazes me how he puts a game plan together. Things that he has done this year. 11 personnel is a prominent position grouping that the offenses play. Kansas City has the least amount of snaps out of 11 personnel in all of the NFL. So you're preparing for Kansas City, you've got to go deep and back because he gives you so many things. You know, he's going to line up in heavy personnel. He's going to line up in 21 personnel, and he's going to line up in 22. And then he's going to spread, some empty sets. And those are the things that make it hard. And Andy has a knack from pulling things way back in his coaching history. The trick plays, the gadget plays. And you can't prepare for him as a coach. And he just has that knack of being a great play caller and a great game planner that says, I remember this play had success, and they're gonna run this defense in this situation, and it's gonna be a home run.
Well, and I think you mentioned that Andy in doing all of those things, and he has the perfect conductor, I guess you could say, in Patrick Mahomes to execute what he's trying to do out there. Mike Smith, you coached a lot of defense in the NFL. That's your forte. What would you do going into a game against Patrick Mahomes?
Well, you pick your poison. I think the big thing is you don't want to give up big plays because you want it to be a slow death more than a fast death. You want it to be that you're there at the end. And even though the statistics say this year, if it's a close game and they've got the ball there at the end of the game, they're going to win. That's what the statistics say, but you got a better chance. I don't think you want to go in there and try to coach play for play against Andy Reid. I think that's going to be a tough ask.
Totally agree. Saquon Barkley on the other side. This is the other question. How do you stop Saquon Barkley?
Well, Saquon he's a special player, but in the game now, this year, the running game has shown up again. And the reason it's shown up again is because everybody's playing with 6, 7, or 8 defensive backs on the field. And if you've got 8 defensive backs on the field or 7 defensive backs on the field, you're going to make those guys try to tackle and maybe have to tackle in the box. So that I think is the big thing that he's been able to do is he's been able to run, and it's been a favorable box, and that's why we've had 2,000-yard rushers. I know we're playing a 17th game, but I believe this is how many 1,000-yard rushers we've had. I think it's like 17 maybe this year, or I don't know the exact number, but it has shown up, the run game. But it's showing up because of the way teams have to defend the pass game.
Yeah, and from that standpoint, again, you're a defensive guy. Like what Spags is doing too is just incredible. Like I know he gets his credit and he gets his flowers, but no matter how many he gets, I don't know that he gets enough. Like why is he so good as a defensive coordinator?
Well, Steve has done a great job. He's been with Andy. He's done a great job as a defensive coach, and he has that knack that you have to have in this league is to, when you call the right play, to defend the offense. And he has a knack, and he does a great job disguising. He does a great job showing one thing and doing something else, and he gets free runners all the time. And they've got some great players up front, but a lot of those sacks are on Spags because he made the call.
Yeah.
And they're free. He knows if they're in a certain set, they're going to have a free runner, and they get some free runners.
Talking with Mike Smith, the Atlanta Falcons head coach from 2008 to 2014. You were right. 16,000 yard rushers. One guy had 990, so I'm going to give you the bonus point and curve the test.
Okay, I'm glad you checked. Fact checked me. I'm good because I got some gray hairs and I don't remember things like I used to. But
man,
join the club.
Did you think that there was that many?
I thought there was like maybe 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Because they don't run the ball anymore in the NFL.
They don't
Apparently
run the ball,
do.
but yes, now they do because they got a light box.
Right.
And that's not taken away from what Saquon's done this year.
Right.
He is by far had him. If there were a couple of quarterbacks that didn't have the years they'd have, he would be talk for the MVP.
But I bet if you asked him, would you rather be approaching a cornerback, safety, or a linebacker? We know the answer.
Absolutely,
Mike, right?
Absolutely. Those guys don't want to tackle.
They don't want to tackle. No, Deion said that years ago, right?
Nobody
said
wants
that
to
years
tackle.
ago.
Right.
So if Patrick ends up winning on Sunday, which you predicted at the beginning of the interview that he will, I keep telling everybody he will be the greatest of all time. He will have done something that nobody else has done. I'm known as a hyperbolic human being. I don't believe that to be hyperbolic.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
But then the next question you got to ask is how much more?
Yeah.
I mean, what he has accomplished thus far in his career, it's just been amazing to watch him, and he's in the perfect system. In a perfect setup, and you've got to give credit to the whole organization from ownership on down. They've done a fantastic job, with player acquisitions. There's nothing that you can talk about the Chiefs that isn't first class. And I think the two best teams in the league this year are playing in the Super Bowl. Give Philly their due. They've done a fantastic job in terms of their player acquisition. Vic Fangio, it's going to be great to watch Vic and Spags really go at it because I think that's going to really be the difference.
Yeah.
The game's moving along. You're moving along with the game as well. So tell us a little bit about X-Tech shoulder pads that you're starting up here.
Yeah, so I've been involved with X-Tech shoulder pads for 11 years.
Yeah.
It's the number one pad worn in the NFL. It's got some really unique concepts, and when they were putting it together, it's much lighter than any other pad. You have more flexibility, and that's what players want. They're minimalistic. They want the minimal.
Yep.
They don't want the pads. They want to have free reign, and that's why these guys, you see these receivers making these unbelievable catches, is because they have the ability to do that and move freely, but they also want the protection, and the foam that's in the X-Tech pads is the best foam out there, and it's been tested over and over. And the NFL tests shoulder or helmets. I wish they test shoulder pads as well, but it's the number one pad. But what we really want to be is we want to be the number one pad in youth and high school football.
Hell yeah.
We're protecting we're protecting the guys that do it for a living, but let's protect the next generation of players that are coming up, so mom and dad will feel comfortable about letting their son go out and play tackle football at an early age so that they can develop.
And you can find that on Instagram at X-Tech Pads on Instagram as well. Mike, we appreciate the time. Continue with everything you're doing. Success for you.
All right, guys, 15 seconds.
Enjoyed it, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, enjoy your week.
We will.
Do our best.
Yep.
My first time covering a Super Bowl and first time in New Orleans, so wish me
Oh,
luck.
gosh.
5 seconds.
You'll see some things.
That's right. That's right. That is.
You'll see a great game, but you're going to see some things.
That's right. I'm still trying to figure out what those things are.
Well, you'll see some things. It's early in the week yet. Yeah, wait till you
I
get
love
down
that Mike Smith's even telling me that, like, you're going to see some things, man.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
You'll see some things in New Orleans you don't see anywhere else. I mean, like the Uber driver we had this morning.
Yeah.
What was she telling us in the car?
The French Quarter's the number one. Oh, that like the number one currency for everyone here is the service industry.
Yeah, but she was also saying like they don't shut down the ladies of the night and a lot of other things because they don't want people to stop coming to New Orleans.
Yeah, that was
interesting.
interesting.
Coming down to New Orleans to partake in, some of the, that goes on down here. And they're like, no, we're not going to end any of that because that's why we want people down here. So, yes, you will absolutely see some things you've never seen, and especially once we get closer and closer to the weekend, more and more people start to come down. Bourbon Street continues to get more and more crowded.
You need somebody to read you a bedtime story?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, not Amsterdam levels, but, it's pretty damn close.
You don't need NyQuil here.
No, you definitely don't. Have a couple of hurricanes. Have a couple of hurricanes and Mindy over there. Yeah, that'll cure you. That'll definitely cure you.
We saw a little bit of that in the daylight the other day. We wwent down to Bourbon Street and ate. I mean, they weren't letting it all hang out.
And that was at like noon.
And that wasn't after midnight.
Tuesday. So, it's only going to get better and better and better as we get closer and closer and closer to the weekend.
That's great. That was noon on a Tuesday.
It was noon on a Tuesday, right? Yeah. Wait till you see 5 o'clock on a Friday or 6 o'clock on a Saturday.
Boy, that Chiefs game was wild. Yeah, that was a noon game.
Yep, that was a nooner.
For a Sunday night PM game at 7:25.
That's right. Yeah, you'll see what Bourbon Street is really, really like coming up in a couple of hours probably here.
Yeah, well, we got we're gonna go grub again today down there, and then we're gonna go down there Friday and eat dinner, and then hopefully run into John Gruden. Man, let me tell you, you're gonna see some things. You're gonna see an XY banana, and it's not gonna mean a play for downtown Bourbon Street. So, no, it's been fun, man. New Orleans is definitely awesome. There's definitely some stuff, but look, there's something that you have to watch out for, and that is people who try to hop on the bandwagon late. There's somebody that used to play for the Yankees who's starting to do that. That's one of your favorite athletes of all time, Bob Fescoe. That is me being facetious. But don't forget, you can watch and you can see what Bob Fescoe looks like today.
conversation that Patrick Mahomes and Alex Rodriguez had on a video years ago. And Patrick Mahomes talks about playing, with his dad and being around his dad when he was with the Rangers, and he would hit with A-Rod and take batting lessons from Alex Rodriguez.
See, I knew that story.
Right, which is fine. You're a child. You're a child, right? And Alex Rodriguez says he was always interested. How do you hit a ball like that to right center field? So a lot of my lessons for him was driving the ball to right center field.
I thought you'd say take steroids.
Yeah, right. Yes, right. Patrick was there every day with a great attitude. And I remember there's about 3 or 4 games where I hit about 6 or 7 home runs. I was on fire. And on that Friday, I came back to working even harder, and I remember Patrick saying, Alex, why are you working so hard today if you hit all these home runs? And I said, you're only as good as what you do after greatness. Mahomes. It was my first love, but I started playing football. I quickly figured out that I didn't know what love was because I love football more than I ever loved baseball. Alex Rodriguez. I remember saying, Patrick, there's no future in football. You're a baseball player. Man, I'm glad he didn't listen to me. I mean, that right there, Alex Rodriguez on the eve, basically, of when Patrick Mahomes is going for his three-peat, is trying to relay a story that he had with Patrick Mahomes, who was probably under 10 years old at the time when his dad was playing for the Texas Rangers, trying to say he was the one who convinced Patrick Mahomes to go to football by saying he wasn't going to have a career in it, and he's glad Patrick Mahomes didn't listen to him. Like, you don't have to insert yourself into that story, A-Rod, and try to make it about you and act like you are the reason why Patrick Mahomes is now one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL.
So that, I don't know, that article kind of gives me like club sandwich vibes. Like, there's some stuff in there that I like. There's other stuff I can go without.
Sure, yeah.
Like the whole, like, I'm glad he didn't listen to me. Like, you could have spun it differently. Like, I'm glad he chose his instincts or whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad he's playing football now instead of baseball.
I love the part where he's like, Mr. Rodriguez, you hit 6 home runs yesterday. Why are you hitting batting practice? You're only as good as you were, like, yesterday. You got to move forward and move on or whatever the quote was. So I kind of like that. And, again, that's why I think a lot of people are like, why is Patrick Mahomes so good so early when it was a couple years ago? And those were the stories that they went back and said. It's like, he's been in the locker rooms. He's seen superstars. Like, he saw prime Derek Jeter at the age of 9. So, I mean, like, imagine, like, you being a kid going and seeing your favorite, like, Yankee if you were, like, 9 years old. All of a sudden. Don Mattingly's in the same locker room as you, and you're, like, not even hit puberty.
Right.
By the time you hit puberty, you're like, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
like,
I've been there, done that. And I agree with that. Yeah, no, I love, and I think that is a big
we
reason
know this
why.
Sort of stuff already.
Right, we do, but that's
this is
it's
year
just
8, A-Rod.
Yeah, right.
You know?
It's like A-Rod just woke up and goes, I think that one of my teammates had a son that reminds me of this guy, and then A-Rod started doing like baseball reference and realized that kid was Patrick Mahomes. No, but I do believe, and I've said this for years, a big reason why Patrick Mahomes, as successful as Patrick Mahomes is because of his upbringing, because of his dad, because of his godfather, because of being around professional athletes. Like, you remember the first time you went into a locker room, right? Do you remember the first time you went into a locker room?
Never forget it.
Right. Okay.
Saw Alan Bailey butt-ass naked.
Okay, so you remember going in there and you're kind of like, whoa, I'm in an NFL locker room. It's kind of overwhelming, right?
I thought it was like any given Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
The scene where they go down there, it's like, you're like, this is their fraternity house.
Right, it is, yeah.
But it's also like, okay, that's Travis, that's Alex Smith, that's, these guys. And I was just like, this is a very dominating process.
Right, right. And imagine being a kid and having the opportunity to see all that when you're a child. So then when you get there as an adult, it's not that big a deal. You've done it 1,000 times. You've been there. It's not new. Most of the guys, I would say, I don't know, well over 95% probably of professional athletes are entering a pro locker room for the first time when they're on one of those teams. And so I'm sure there is that whoa expectation or that whoa reaction because everybody has it. You've never been there. You've never done that. It's new. Patrick Mahomes walks into a locker room and goes, man, I saw Derek Jeter. I saw Alex Rodriguez. I was around all these guys. It's not new. He doesn't have to learn how to be a professional athlete. He already knows because he learned from some of the best.
I guess you could say it's kind of relevant to this weekend. Like, Mac and I have never done this.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
The first day we walked into the doors, like, whoa. And you're on the backside of it like, it's going to be a blank show. Just wait. You'll see.
Right.
And then by the time Friday gets here and you're like, you get there, you do this. These guys show up. These people do this here. These people do that there. And, it is what it is. So, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. We'll get into some more conversations regarding other people jumping on the bandwagon and stuff like that as well. We have plenty of more people to talk to here live on Radio Row. And, of course, you can hear the big game on 96.5 The Fan, and it is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmericaCredit.com. Coming up on the other side, Chiefs legend Will Shields will sit down with us. You'll listen to Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. watch the show on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, presented by our partners at Technology Group Solutions, the official IT provider of your Kansas City Chiefs. Ladies and gentlemen, you remember him on the offensive line, on that great offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs, who let Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, among others, just go run havoc all over you. We now get to talk to that offensive lineman, Will Shields. And Will Shields, how incredible is it to watch Joe Thuney do exactly what he's doing at left tackle?
I think it's awesome. I think anytime that you could step out of your comfort zone.
You guys are clear.
Go play at a different position. I think it was a brilliant move by the team, being able to say, hey, we're going to switch it up. We're going to move a guy outside and let him go out and fight. And him being as athletic and what he's been able to do is really good. And I think right now what they really have to do is keep switching it up, keep him moving around, doing different things, and also give him help here and there. To me, that's the most important piece. Keep giving them help here and there so that guys don't know where that extra hit's going to come from.
Well, you guys know, obviously, how important that offensive line is. And I saw a number the other day, kind of went, whoa, Patrick Mahomes in every Super Bowl has had a different left tackle. But he's also had 5 left tackles this year alone, Will.
Yes.
Like, you had Willie and you and Brian and all those guys in there on that offense. You guys never moved. Everybody was stable and set right there. What's that got to be like to have that change constantly at maybe the most important position on the line?
Pretty painful,
Yeah.
because every week you're trying to figure out how can I make it happen, how can we make things go, but then design plays around it. And I think that's one thing that has to come to fruition. You have to design plays around it to sort of alleviate the hey, I don't want any one-on-ones. I don't want any third and longs. Those are the pieces that make it hard. Where if I can keep it to third and short, I can also play the game of is it a run, is it a pass, and give him some chances to get on top of people. And I think that's where he's been able to do really well.
They talked to Spagnuolo today about the tush push. What's your opinion on that, by the way?
It's funny about that tush push is that everybody's, it's a new thing, is this, that, and the other. I used to coach 3rd and 4th graders, right? And there's a team that we play that did the tush push all the way down the field. And we had to, and that's all they did. They would line everybody up and just scrum down the field. So you got to get people low. You got to get 2 guys going sideways, 1 going forward, so that you can take the guy that's scrambling at your knees and move him sideways, so you can have a linebacker feel right behind it. And that makes a difference.
Secondly, a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you see how he plays, you see how he's able to move. Is it easier or tougher to block for a guy like that, or is it like driving a stick or an automatic? You eventually learn the mechanics and figure things out and go with the flow.
Well, I think the good thing about it is that Patrick's going to help save you sometimes if you miss a guy or you go inside instead of outside. He's able to scramble out of it. You don't want that to be a commonality or normal. But he's a guy that sort of saves you, and you start setting your sets. And I think what they've done is you set the way you do, and Patrick will work around you and not vice versa.
Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. As we talk to Will Shields here, Hall of Famer, Chiefs legend, part of the greatest offensive line in Chiefs history, and the greatest of all time is what I keep coming back to with Patrick Mahomes. And I'm saying Sunday when he wins this 3rd straight one, he passes Tom Brady. You're an older guy like I am now. You were there when Tom was playing and all that kind of stuff. Am I hyperbolic, or are you feeling the same way too?
Yeah, if they win the championship, it makes it tough. I mean, I think it's each era, and I'm one of those guys that can't say, oh, they're the greatest ever. I'm going, each era has their guy. They have a guy, and the rules have changed a little since then, and that makes a difference. I think he's going to be the greatest of this era, especially when he wins this championship this weekend.
Yeah. You look at a guy like Andy Reid. You talk about guys like Bill Belichick, Don Shula. He talks about Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Where's Andy Reid rank if he puts another ring on the hand?
He's already at the top right now, even for what he did in Philly, for how many champ games he played in and playoff games and everything else. He's already cemented himself as being one of the best coaches in the NFL.
What could you have done if your career overlapped with Andy Reid's career? Do you ever think about what offensively? I know you guys were great offensively, but I mean, in this era of football with Patrick Mahomes, do you ever think about what it would have been like if you came along maybe 10, 15 years later?
Well, I think we sort of had that feeling when we had, Coach Vermeil.
Yeah.
So we had that feeling of what it was like to have fun guys around you and be able to have a blast. And every time you hit the huddle, it was like, okay, are we going to score on 1 play, 5 plays, or 7 plays? It wasn't the fact of saying you wasn't going to score. It was just saying when. And that's the mindset. And so that's what kind of player you have to have, or coach you got to have around you, is to set that mindset on one side of every time we get the ball, we don't have to score, but you have an opportunity to score. And then on the other side, defensively, you've got Spagnuolo that's basically, hey, we're going to dial some things up here and there to make it hard on the other team and make them have to incrementally work their way down the field to get where they needed to go. And he's been a genius on the other side. And I think what's really cool about it is that they're able to, if they could keep that group together, and I'm going dynasty-wise, when they say dynasty, dynasty has always worked better when you have the same people in the car.
Right.
And I'm going, just keep those same guys in the car and keep building on what you have. As long as it works, don't keep trying to fix it. Just make it a little better. Just tweak it. Bring a guy in that might have some other little ideas, but nothing drastic.
I was going to say, do you ever think about 03 if you had Spags coaching that defense, maybe you make Indy punt and you get that playoff win?
Well, we think if we had a little, we did a little both. I mean, we had one fumble and then one punt. No punts in that game. Yeah, everything has a little difference. There was a year that we had a couple of wide left kicks. So those opportunities were there. We just weren't the team to make it happen, and that's what makes it tough. And this team here seems to be ready to make it happen at every aspect.
Talking with Will Shields, offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs, legend in Kansas City for a lot of you listening here. I want to bring this up because we talked to Gerald McCoy yesterday, and he said the narrative that the refs are on the side of the Chiefs is disrespectful. What say you, Will Shields?
Well, I always go, just like we say, eras and different things. I mean, we would say the same thing about the Patriots when they were winning games and doing different things. We would go, oh, they were cheating for them, and they did this, and they did that. I mean, just got to be honest. When you win a lot, everybody wants to know why and how, and you had to have a little help here and there. And as a player, you look at it, and sometimes you will go through that point of going, ooh, that was a tough one. That could have went either way, or maybe they shouldn't have called that. And I'll go, but that's every team. Everything happens that way. There's always those ticky-tack things where you're going, yeah, they could have let that go, or they could have called it, or they didn't. It just depends on when you're winning a lot, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, and that's the thing. When you start to win a lot, people start to look around and think that the referees are helping you, or you're getting help from a supreme being, or the games are fixed, or whatever the case may be. People, I don't think, still understand how the Chiefs get it done, and how they get it done is because they've got a leader in their quarterback who doesn't care how much time is left on the clock, what the situation is. They believe that they're going to win games, and they know how to close out games, both offensively and defensively.
Well, the way I see it is you got to take that opportunity off the table. If you take it off the table and you push the scores out and you do all the other things, then there is no opportunity. And as long as you leave that door open, there's a chance that some things could happen.
Yeah.
And right now, our quarterback and our guys that are playing believe in that, and they make things happen. Guys make plays that you don't think is going to make plays. And when they get the opportunities in the years that we didn't win the Super Bowl, when they had the opportunity for those plays, they didn't make them. Yeah. And that made a difference.
How hard is it to get to a playoff, a Super Bowl, and then 3 in a row? Because we were talking the other day about which was harder, winning that first one or winning the third one. I think winning the third one is much more difficult. But how hard is it just to get back to the postseason every year where this team is?
Especially when you win one, from that point, everybody's gunning for you.
Yeah.
You were the champs for the year before, so they're going to give you their best game. There's that stat you have in the back of your mind of how many years did we beat a team that basically won the Super Bowl? And you're going, man, we beat them in the season.
Right.
Why can't we beat them in the playoffs? And that makes a big difference. And that's that stat you always hold in your head. And you're going, it's hard to play at a high level, and it's hard to keep winning games when you've been the champs.
So, Will, as we wrap this up, talking to Will Shields here, Gear Up Against Cancer.
Yes.
Let us know what that's about.
Gear Up Against Cancer is basically the NFL alumni, and we are actually going out to the communities. We work in three different phases. First, we work with our athletes to help them get healthier, and then we work with kids in the community, and then we work with the community itself in a whole. And what we're doing is trying to inform everybody about colon cancer, and it's one of those silent but deadly things that happen, but it's also something that's preventable. So we're telling everybody once you reach the age of 45, start getting your checkups because it's one of those cancers that doesn't really show signs. If you're one of those persons that's sensitive to it, you'll have fatigue, you'll have stomachs, you'll have certain things that will show up. But it's one of those things that most people don't know they have, but it is curable. And I think that's what's really important. And as a community, that's what we want to make sure that this is our time to say, look, make sure you get checked. Make sure you get those things put in place so that you could be the healthy as you could be for as long as you can be.
Yeah, I've had 2 of them at 47 already. Highly, highly suggest getting them. I've known people that have passed from colon cancer, so I'm with you, man. Get your screenings.
Thank you for the time.
All right, guys, 15 seconds.
And we appreciate it. That's Chiefs legend Will Shields. And again, all of our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their 3rd straight title, and Academy
5 seconds.
is everything you need to rep your team during their historic run.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty, live from New Orleans at Radio Row, brought to you by Bud Light, beer sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their 3rd straight title, and Academy
Check, 1, 2.
thing you need to rep your team during their historic run. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, the
petroleum or whatever she was talking about.
Right.
And then she said everybody eats fried food and has gout at 30, yet she chose to move here. So we're just warning you, Nate.
Before her hip gives out.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. I need to know her story because Seattle's one of the jewels of the West.
She said she's tired of shivering and being cold is why she moved to New Orleans.
Well, that's literally how they get you kids. Warm weather and everything tastes good.
Yeah.
I cannot stress that enough.
Nate,
everything.
How does this team and this week compare to the other couple of Super Bowls that you've covered? Is it more dialed in? Because I just feel like seeing Patrick Mahomes on Monday night, I'm like, oh, this is over. He's already focused, dialed in, and ready to go. I heard that from a couple other folks that he's ready to go, dialed in. Where do you feel compared to the other ones?
Yeah, I get the sense that the team understands the significance of Sunday's game historically, not just the cap of the season. Andy Reid's always been about, hey, I give you guys the game plan the week before we even get here. So now it's just, making sure you're aware of everything. Obviously, they started practicing in full yesterday. But no, this team, especially from the leadership, I think one of the small advantages the Chiefs have is, they've been in the Super Bowl the last 3 years. So they have nothing should necessarily surprise them. They've kept all of their routines from the last 2 years. I thought that was something that was pretty interesting, even though you are on Central Time. You're not in the West like we are in New Orleans in Las Vegas or Arizona. And this team is trying very hard to present themselves as focused, but not reveal just how much they are, let's say, ready to meet the moment on Sunday, whether that's a scheme standpoint, a mentality from an inspiration to one another. And obviously, we know that this is the last team that prevents us from really separating ourselves from any other great champion in NFL history during the Super Bowl era.
Nate, do you get we are with Nate Taylor, the Athletic, here on Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan. Do you get the kind of the perspective that this one is kind of for Mahomes? We did this conversation a couple days ago. I had this thought where, the first one was for Andy. The second one was for the city. Last year was kind of for the Hunt family with, Lamar's wife passing away. And then this one, you hear the audio of the stage last year where Mahomes is talking to Chris Jones. His confetti's still falling in his kids in his arm. And he's like, let's go get the third one. No one's ever done it. And it's like, dude, the celebration is ongoing of winning back-to-back, and you're already winning a third one. You tie that into what Bob said, where his face is so dialed in, he's annoyed, he just wants to win. Do you get the sense that maybe this title this year is kind of for Patrick?
You could definitely make that argument. I love all of that, Dusty, just because he knows that the chase really begins Sunday. Think about this, right? Everybody's, the confetti's falling last year in Las Vegas, and he's already like, no one's ever done three. Because he knows, again, Joe Montana never got to, fully execute it. Tom Brady only had one shot, didn't get a chance to complete it, with the Patriots. So this opportunity may never come back for Patrick Mahomes in terms of distinguishing yourself as truly the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, both statistically and with our eyes. But also, if he wins on Sunday, all that matters is the chase now. He will go from, and I know this sounds silly, but he will go from the significance of 3 to now having more than half of Tom Brady's Super Bowls at the age of 30, essentially. So he will go from, hey, I just did something that people thought was close to impossible, and now I have all of my 30s to chase down this man to get at least 7 Super Bowls or to surpass him and getting 8. If I've already got 4 in my 20s, can I get 4 in my 30s to truly, signify that, I'm the greatest, statistically.
Then can he get 4 in his 40s, too? That'll be the next one for Patrick Mahomes. And who's going to doubt him, at this point in time? And the doubt is what I think is going to fuel this defense, Nate, to stop Saquon Barkley. It feels like Every time we approach a game where they say the defense can't do something, and I go all the way back to the AFC Championship game with Derrick Henry, we were told that he was going to run all over the Chiefs, and they held them to, 69 yards or whatever it was. Last year's Super Bowl, McCaffrey and Kittle and Debo and all these guys, oh, my God, the Chiefs can't stop these guys. They basically shut those guys down as well in these games. That's why I feel like this one, like all the talk has been Saquon Barkley, Saquon Barkley, Saquon Barkley. I feel like that just motivates the Chiefs' defense. I think they're going to go out there and they're going to contain Saquon Barkley.
If they do that, Bob, the Eagles essentially have no chance of winning unless Jalen Hurts produces a performance that's even greater than the one he had 2 years ago, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Jalen Hurts played amazing 2 years ago. He made one critical mistake. That was the fumble. Nick Bolton scoop and score, and that's what gets you beat. So they're going to need Saquon Barkley to be excellent for him to finish off a historic season in the way that few running backs ever have. To your point about the Chiefs being motivated, this is not what Steve Spagnuolo is known for. He's known for blitzes and coverage and, making life miserable for Tom Brady when, the Patriots were in the midst of their perfect season.
Right.
If the Chiefs do this again after, like you said, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, who was amazing last season, and if they keep Saquon Barkley under 100 yards, that is a recipe for success. That is a job well done because I'm not sure the Eagles have as many pass catchers as the San Francisco 49ers presented last year. They have two really good ones in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but I don't know if you put Jalen Hurts in as many third and sixes and longer, if that's actually going to be, an advantage for the Eagles, because that kind of eliminates Saquon because he's not as explosive as a receiver out of the backfield the way McCaffrey was last year.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Nate. We'll ask you a few more here. We're talking to Nate Taylor of The Athletic here on Fescoe and Dusty. I want to bring this up because we talk a lot about Patrick Mahomes. We talk a lot about Travis Kelce. And, Bob has the idea that if he does win a three-peat, he surpasses Tom Brady as the GOAT. I think there's still time to be had, but time is on his side. So I don't think really it's that egregious of a take. But when Andy Reid, or if and when Andy Reid wins this title, I mean, let's be honest, that's kind of got to lead him into the conversation of, is it Belichick, is it Reid? I know Shula's up there at the top, but, let's be honest. These guys are now neck and neck, and it's just everything is so Chiefs versus Patriots, Patriots versus Chiefs, legacies versus legacies. But I think the main argument is I think if Andy Reid wins a three-peat and Andy Reid wins this game, he is the greatest coach of all time.
Oh, boy. It's wild. I mean, we're really talking about, hey, Tom Brady has 7. Bill Belichick has 6. Andy Reid can have 4 in a 6-year period. Think about that.
And be the winningest coach for 2 franchises that are playing in a single game called the Super Bowl.
Yes, it's nuts. It's utterly nuts. Andy Reid will always have the benefit in this argument, knowing that he resurrected Michael Vick's career. He got honestly some of the best playing out of Alex Smith. You could give him any quarterback, and I was talking to some of my other colleagues, from a writing standpoint, and they're like, I have to remind them, he took Matt Moore from teaching high school kids to beating an NFL team in a matter of 3 months. I mean, come on. Right. So
the
now
Chad
that
Henne drive.
Exactly. Now that you've paired him with, the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, and, he's also been someone who can develop skill position players in any era. He's got a good argument if he wins on Sunday, fellas. I can't necessarily push back. I would just sort of hedge it and say, well, if I needed to win a game in the modern era, I would either pick Andy Reid or Bill Walsh as an offensive coach, and then I would always pick Bill Belichick as the defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah.
They are the 2 pillars of this modern era. Basically, since the turn of the century, fellas, these are the 2 guys that have mattered the most in terms of leadership in the NFL.
Nate, do you get the sense like I do that no matter what the Chiefs do on Sunday, let's say assume and go for the argument that they win the game on Sunday, there's still going to be people with a but the Patriots are still the best. Like, I feel like no matter what the Chiefs do, we're going to continue to see that bar push that they always have to do more because people do not want to allow them and say they have already passed the Patriots dynasty that was 20 years, going, and everybody loved that dynasty in New England. It seems like every person I talk to seemingly wants to kind of hold on to that dynasty and keep saying, but with the Chiefs. Like, I even had somebody with the organization say to me, if we win this thing on Sunday, then what are they going to say? How far are they going to continue to push the line till we are considered one of the greatest of all time?
Yeah, they'll always push it, and that's okay. I mean, I just want to tell people, like, that's fine. Like, that's where we are in today's age. It's a lot easier for people to harken back to the past and live in, some of the presents. And again, I understand it's hard to compare in eras. But again, you have the chip of, hey, you want to re-raise me? They went for a three-peat. Like, they did it. Like, again, when so many other teams had opportunities, there were 8 teams that were back-to-back chips. None of them got to the Super Bowl the third year. The Chiefs have already done that. If they do that and they win on Sunday, that is quite a trump card, a joker, an ace you could put down in the, in the argument table of, okay, you want to raise me about, 6 Super Bowls in 20 years. That's great. What about 4 and 6 and also a 3-peat? It's pretty comparable arguments, even though it is obviously somewhat difficult to compare eras because the sport continues to change, the rules continue to change. And again, the players get better.
Yep.
Like, it's okay. Like, I love Teddy Bruschi. I did not like him when he was in his prime, but, I understand how good he was in his era. He could not live in today's NFL. That's how crazy the sport moves decade after decade. The Patriots have Rodney Harrison, who I always consider to be one of the greatest curmudgeons in the modern era. Justin Reid might have more Super Bowls than him. Think about that. Even though Rodney Harrison is considered a legend in his time. So the players get better. And so it's understandable that, did Tom Brady have to go through, a 4-game stretch last year of, 2 on the road, 1 in an actual ice bowl, the other one in overtime of the Super Bowl against, the best team the NFC had to offer that year? No. And that's okay. But a 3-peat is just, I mean, how can you argue that, when you have that in your hand?
No doubt about it, Nate. We appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the rest of your week in New Orleans. Enjoy the Creole food, and then we'll all get on a treadmill when we get back home.
Yes, the Super Bowl 15 is already activated, fellas.
That's right. Nate Taylor there, presented by Mark Ferguson. We all make mistakes. Let Mark and his legal team make the best of them. 816-221-1750 from Nate Taylor. Straight over to the phone line again. We get with Frank Caliendo, and our guest appearances on our show here on Fescoe and Dusty are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. Frank, how are you this morning? We are live in New Orleans. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. How's Radio Row that I'm missing right now?
Oh, you're missing it all, Frank. The trials and tribulations of Radio Row.
Getting hammered and eating Creole, man. How can you beat that? I'm going to look like Jabba the Hutt when I leave this place.
Fantastic place. Fantastic.
And I do always find you, and when I'm there, I always do find you, or you find me, and we end up together. This year, I don't know. It's funny because there are certain stations that I like to do and friends that I have on Radio Row, and then the situation is everybody tries to not everybody, but when there's nobody super famous walking around, I'm a great filler. You know what I mean? So it's like we have Tim Tebow stopping through. I know I saw the glow around him. But we have 9:55 right before the end of our show. Can you come for 5 minutes? I probably can't, but I'll pretend like I'm going to say yes. But you guys always see it. It's always great to be out there. And I was with Stephen A. Smith. Let me just say this. Here we go. Getting ready to play Caliendo. Which one, Frank or Mike? That's going to be the question. So I got to clear something up for you. I don't know if you guys have had this cleared up before. Mike Caliendo, who is on the Chiefs, who you guys obviously know this.
Yeah, he's your son.
That's what today is about. Frank Caliendo is the father.
Yeah. Yes. The paperwork is in.
Maury
The
Povich.
paperwork is in, Frank, and our sources tell us you are the father.
Yeah, congratulations.
So the funny thing is, he's from Wisconsin, or he grew up in Wisconsin. I grew up in Wisconsin, or his family's from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
My family's originally from Chicago, so I'm not allowed to talk that much about it. So, but we aren't related. But that's the crazy thing. Growing up, I believe, uncles were Chris and Carrie Caliendo. One went to Nebraska. I'm not sure where the other one went. Played football, big sports guys. But I played baseball, growing up and stuff like that. People are you related to Chris and Carrie Caliendo? No. So now I talk to Mike Caliendo from the Chiefs, and he's like, oh, I get that all the time. Are you related to Frank Caliendo? And now with Nance and Romo always bringing it up, which is great. But Nance like, Mike Caliendo being picked up and moved across the field like Frank Caliendo. Oh, Jim. Here we go, Jim. This is going to be really. And then they try to do my bit, which they always screw up, which is funny, which is supposed to be Tony. Oh, here we go, Jim. Tony. And I just screwed it up. I just did them doing it, which is the crazy thing. So,
Frank, honest question. What was your first impression? Like, what was your first impersonation?
Oh, probably, and I like it when people call them impressions more than impersonation. Impersonation is like in Vegas when you dress up like the person, or when you try to pretend you are. For me, impression is like you do more of a caricature of it.
Right.
Not that it matters, and nobody cares that's listening. But who's cared about half of the stuff I'm saying? They're just like, let's get to the game.
Well, we found out you're Mike Caliendo's dad. So that's breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah. We're gonna tweet that on our station. Everybody's gonna click on it. We're gonna be like Mike Florio. Let me tell you something about Mike Florio, man. I'm going to tell you about Mike Florio. This guy didn't even know XYZ, two right banana.
I tell you what, man, that's pretty good. I see Gruden all over the internet right
now.
We ran into him. We ran into him.
Man.
He's just walking Bourbon Street on a Tuesday with an entourage going in and out of every bar and talking to everybody. It was great to see him down there.
He texted me the other day about something. Just out of the blue, he's like, "You gonna do that for me?" No, I can't. I have a life. I can't just do your bidding. I'm not a Gruden minion, you know. So he's like, "Can you do Patrick Mahomes in a rowboat?" Why would I do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I really think it's going to be great if we all work together and make it happen.
What do you want? Why do you want that? What is your deal? So, what was the question you asked me before?
I don't know. I think, what was the first? What was
the first impression you did? Yeah.
Oh, I'd probably do Muppet characters, which were Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. Let's see. Muppet characters. Hi, ho, Kermit the Frog here. With Fozzie Bear. Waka waka waka. Which one you combine them become Patrick Mahomes? But I think the first regular person impression was Jay Leno. I looked into a mirror and was like, "Hey, would you like the nacho cheese flavored Doritos? Crunch on you want? That was one of them. Robin Williams. That was an early one. And then the Madden thing came along, and then you think of all the things you could do and all the things you don't do, and between those two sets of things, boom. That's what. There you go.
What would Madden say about Mahomes?
I mean, you look at this guy and you think, hey, I don't know what he's going to do or when's he going to do. You ever see those mall walkers? You ever see people walking at the mall at like 6:30 in the morning? That's Patrick Mahomes walking to the sideline. I mean, that's a funny little walk. And then, boom, he's going this way. Boom, he's going that way. Then, boom, you just lost again to him.
Yeah. So it was funny, Frank. Our encounter with Gruden the other day, he was in love with our producer, Mac. He said he had a great broadcasting voice, and I just thought to myself, how would John Gruden describe to somebody how to eat, mud bugs or crawfish?
I tell you what, man, I dive right in. You ever see one of those Saint Bernards eat? You ever see them do that? Where they just what was that movie with that Saint Bernard? Remember that one? What was that? You remember that? Drooling all over the place. I don't know. I thought you guys could help me on that one, man. Beethoven, man.
Yeah.
Beethoven. Named after my favorite hard rock band, man, Beethoven. So I just dive right in. You could be a lot of people try to pull things apart. I just throw my face in there. Not the answer you guys are looking for, but it's way early for my day.
No, you're good. I just feel like Gruden would probably be like, you got to suck the head, man. That's where all the good stuff is. You got to get inside their brain, man. You got to suck it dry.
I tell you what, man, then their brain becomes part of your brain, then we're all spider 2Y banana, man.
There you go.
Absolutely.
When you coming to town, my man? When you coming to KC?
Just put a show on sale. What's the date? It's Sunday, May 6th at Funny Bone. kc.funnybone.com, I believe, is
nice.
the address. It's on the top of my Twitter at Frank Caliendo. I think you guys look that up. You guys got?
Yeah, we're trying. I got kc.funnybone.com. Yeah.
Yeah, and the date is early May. I go Minneapolis, Des Moines, Omaha, and then I end in Kansas City on the last day of that run. So
will your son be there?
Jim, it's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, don't interrupt Tony Romo. It's like he's starting a car. Jim. Here we go, Jim.
Have you got a Tom Brady down yet at all for the game on Fox?
Might not need it, right? I mean, it's this might be. I mean,
that's true. Good point.
Do you want me? Do you want me just to bore you for 2 hours? What do you want me to do? What's the zing? You know what's funny is Greg Olsen. He and Greg Olsen have almost the same voice. Have you noticed that?
Oh no,
no, I haven't.
Listen, very different in the broadcast, but if you listen to Tom Brady and Greg Olsen, it's almost hard to tell the two of them apart away from that. There's more energy to Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen's become a really great analyst as well. But it's interesting to me that they have two guys that sound so similar. But we'll say, no, Tom Brady. Is there anybody that's ever been like, I don't know, rebuilt more than Tom Brady? Every time I see him, it's like there's a new part to his face. Am I crazy on that?
No, you're right. He looks beautiful. I think that part of the reason he wasn't allowed to practice yesterday, he was getting his face constructed for the game, right?
Yeah. Well, how do you have Photoshop in real life? How do you do that?
Money.
A lot of cash, man.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. He's a good-looking guy to start, and now it's just like, my goodness, how are you? Like, you remember when they would put, like, Florence Henderson, the mom from the Brady Bunch, would be on TV, and there'd be that blurry, they'd always blur her slightly to make her look, or the Oprah camera.
Right.
Tom Brady seems to have that like there's a lens around him somehow.
It's like he has like a very tiny miniature Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, like from Ghost, molding that hole in his chin like they did those pots and pans back then. And they just had the song's just playing as they just perfectly like curvature his chin.
Had the time of my life, and I've never felt this way before.
Hey, we appreciate you giving birth to our left guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. We appreciate the time, Frank. As always.
You got the Chiefs winning?
Yeah, you got the Chiefs winning over Philadelphia, and Philadelphia went over the Chiefs.
Talking to you guys, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you don't have the Chiefs winning, we'll have you on at 6:55 moving forward.
KC.funnybone.com, and did you guys figure out the date I'm there yet? May 5th, May 4th.
Oh, Cinco de Mayo. That'd be a great one to be at. Yeah.
Oh, it's not Cinco de Mayo, but it's it's got to be May 4th then. Okay. I think.
May the 4th be with you, right?
There you go.
Oh, interesting it is.
All right, Frank, we appreciate it, man.
Buddy.
Take care. That is Frank Caliendo, and all of our guests are brought to
No, we don't have better stuff to do. We got to go to a break, though.
Yeah, then we do have to do some sponsors.
All our guests. I am out.
Arugula. All our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. We're going to relax, come back on the other side, and keep diving into this stuff live from Radio Row here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. Gee, man, you got to suck the head, man. You got to suck it dry.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
Friday, which means you only have one more day after today to qualify for something pretty sweet from our friends at Hy-Vee, Mr. Fescoe.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to play a highlight here, and if you're caller number 5 and you know the year that this highlight took place, you'll qualify to win that $500 Hy-Vee gift card that will be awarded at the end of the week. We'll do 5 qualifiers, one each day, and we'll play that highlight. Guess what year? And you'll win $500 from Hy-Vee, the official grocery partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Al Hardman is back to take this punt from Brian Anger. Second in the league in net punting was Anger. 24-7 Houston. 8:32 to go, second quarter. That's a fake punt. They fake the right side, and it's tackled short of the first down. Great play. Dirty Dan Sorensen would not be fooled. A gain of 2 on 3rd down and 4. Dirty Dan makes the big play, stopping the fake punt.
So if you know what year that play took place, our friends in Houston probably not going to like that one either. You be caller number 5 right now, 913-586-7965, and you will qualify to win that $500 Hy-Vee gift card. We'll give that thing away tomorrow, baby, and it's perfect for the Super Bowl because you can do all of your shopping at Hy-Vee. They've got everything you need in one place with a huge selection of Chiefs apparel, party supplies, and all kinds of great watch party foods. Hy-Vee, the official grocery partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it is 7:50 on a Thursday. Smash or Pass coming to you as we smash or pass when it comes to what we did this week. And this one was just all what we did. We talked about these foods last week. I don't think we have to really talk about anything other than that. This food is fantastic here. It's always been great. And Creole food, I will continue to die on this hill if I need to. It is the most disrespected food group there is. You had gator sausage yesterday. We're floored and blown away how good it was.
It was unbelievable. I didn't know what to expect, so we went to this place called the Corporation.
World's greatest.
World's famous. No, world famous.
World famous.
World famous. I said, what makes this place world
be.
famous? And she goes, well, we were here in 1984. I'm like, it's not that long ago to be world famous, but whatever. So we go in. We have
40 years ago.
A nice sandwich and whatnot. They got all the different po' boys on there. I've already had the shrimp. I've already had the gator. I've already had the oyster.
Yep.
The gator sausage po' boy. I'm like, all right, sure, I'll have that. I don't know what this is going to entail.
Because
right?
you and I both were on the same page. We thought it was going to be coined fried.
Yeah, right. I thought it was going to be like they were going to take the gator meat and they were going to take sausage meat, mix it together, get them into little chunks, fry them, because everything is fried here in New Orleans. Like, they literally fry coffee, okay? So, like, everything is fried in New Orleans. And so I was expecting this po' boy with fried chunks of gator sausage on it. No. Lynx, butterfly, grilled, on that bun with that remoulade, as they like to say, and I was overwhelmed.
It was
overwhelmed.
It was
by
a bad
how good
day
it was.
to be a gator sausage po' boy yesterday.
I tell you what, man, and so he goes outside to
man.
take a phone call. He's out there for like 35 minutes talking to Green Bay about the Chiefs, trying to explain. I mean, that was a long.
It was like 15 to 20 minutes to be fair. Plus, I had to wait to get on.
That's a long time. And
you're
so,
like, what they do? Hold you hostage?
Yeah, I mean, like people are just killing time with whoever, like 20 minutes on the Chiefs.
Hey,
Green
man,
Bay,
Atlanta,
man.
Wisconsin, one of the dustmen today. Texas and Boston, what the Fescoe? Hot commodities, man. I can't help it.
Right. And so I'm like, God, I don't know what the hell he's doing. By the time he gets back, that sandwich was gone. I mean, like, I motorboated that thing, man. Like, that's how I was also very hungry. It's the first time I'd eaten that day, but it was phenomenal. Like, I didn't know what to expect, and it exceeded my expectations. And that's the food here in New Orleans. Like, if you come down to this town and you're going to the Super Bowl, you're like, I don't know, the food's every restaurant is good. Everybody has good food here.
You can't really miss, is what I've noticed. Like, because Mac did the classic, like, tourist thing, which is fine. He's 26. He's never, been here before. He's like, what's the difference between gumbo and jambalaya? And, I mean, that lady just as sweet as she could be. Because, like, to paint you where we were at, corner store, streets of New Orleans, and it's a place that, like, Guy Fieri would walk into and be like, all right, diners, drive-ins,
it's a classic dive bar.
Yeah, it was
with
great
food.
Great music.
Yeah, the music. They were playing yacht rock music, and I mean, it was just unbelievable.
Not only that, right when I come back in, it's like the Lord had told them to play it. Born to Run plays. Yeah. Then Big Shot by Billy Joel plays, and I'm like, am I supposed to just die here? Like, the food was great. I got a shrimp po' boy. You got the gator sausage one. Matt got, I think, the shrimp po' boy as well. But it's the reason I got one yesterday, because I've already had the po' boy sandwich. The reason I got one yesterday is I wanted to see if there were different variations. And what I have noticed on the variations of po' boys is the first one I got, the French bread was just sliced and it was stacked on there. This one was a little toasted. I noticed the bread was a little toasted. I think I lean slightly toasted side more than just raw bread. Either way, I'm consuming it all.
I'm not a fan of toast. It cuts the roof of your mouth, and I don't like that feeling.
Lightly toasted.
Yeah, lightly toasted maybe.
Overly toasted, yes, you're going to bleed.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
Right.
I'm not interested in that. It's just like,
I
give me the
will
soft
say
bread.
I do like raw oysters over the char.
Yeah, I do too. No question.
100%.
No question. Raw oysters. Like, we should go do that today. Like that.
Well, there's that place we have to go to. Our Uber driver told us they're $1 an oyster from 3 to 6.
Yeah, we could do that, or we're on an expense account. We'll go pay whatever we want. I don't
That
really
is fair.
care.
Yeah, thanks, Odyssey. Yeah.
No, but
we gotta go to Chipotle, I think.
Yeah, we'll go down to Bourbon today. We'll go to Felix.
Yeah.
We'll go to Acme. We'll go we'll get a dozen at each because it's like the dueling oyster places down
Why
there.
not?
You do what the tourists do. When you're in New Orleans. But I'm with you. I love raw oysters. I think they are phenomenal. Earl's Premier in Kansas City, I think, is the best spot,
Good spot.
For raw oysters.
Been there once. Never had a complaint.
I mean, they have all the like flown in daily. Like, that place is stellar. If you don't know where it is, it's essentially 59th at Holmes, 59th in Kenwood, kind of where we used to live in that neck of the woods back in the day. And it is a phenomenal seafood place and raw bar if you're looking for oysters. Just trust us.
How do you rank the New Orleans soups, I guess? Like gumbo, etouffee, or jambalaya?
I think it's all kind of the same.
It is, right?
Really, like the woman at the bar yesterday was like, well, this one is this, and this one is this plus rice, and this one is this plus beans, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of it is very similar, but a lot of cooking is very similar in life.
Like etouffee is more of like it's weird. It's more of like a thinner, spicier, less rice than gumbo. Gumbo's got like your sausage, your chicken, your rice, and then jambalaya is just like all rice.
All
it's
rice,
no broth or no sort of like roux
thicker
that they make. But yeah, New Orleans food, man.
I mean, it's
awesome.
unbelievable. It really is. Like, you can go into any restaurant, even if it looks like the tourist, like the place where we went and met John Gruden at, clearly a tourist spot, right? It's at Bourbon Street. We're sitting on the balcony, all that. And the food was fantastic there, too.
No doubt about
so it doesn't matter what restaurant you go in here. I mean, the food is absolutely amazing.
And Cheyenne from KCK, she qualifies for that $500 gift card that we will have a winner on Friday. Don't forget, we are live from Radio Row in New Orleans, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. In fact, went there yesterday. Max wearing the shirt I got him. It's kind of cool. The Super Bowl logo on the back is awesome. I gave him a little surprise last night with that shirt. He was like, dude, seriously? I'm like, I'm not going to wear this shirt. It's yours, man. Go rock it and show
look,
people.
He's wearing it today.
Yeah,
like a little
Academy,
kid. I got my new
Academy
shirt. I'm wearing it
show
today.
Show him over here, Max. Show him. That's the
there
logo.
it is.
That's the official Super Bowl shirt. That's right.
Boom.
There you, okay. I didn't know we were getting a flex. No flex.
I think Houston wants you now.
Yeah. Soon Boston. But yeah, no, New Orleans, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run, like that shirt Mac is wearing today. Gosh, guys, it's already 8 o'clock. Coming up on the other side, our new friend of the show, Jay Glazer, Fox's insider, he'll sit down and tell you a few things next here on Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan. You're home, Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to
Space Lord. Coming to you live, the Groove Tenders. That would be our band name, by the way. You have no say in it. You're shedding clothing, Mr. Fescoe. Shedding clothing.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, what's going on here?
Hat's gone.
Shirt's coming off next.
Oh, no.
I leave, take a couple laps, I come back. And
Dude, it is nice to take a lap from Radio Row, man.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's nice now because it's kind of still quiet a little bit. The activity's starting to pick up, right?
Although I forget that,
I just saw Eli Manning, by the way.
Oh, you
really?
did? Yep. Bring him on over.
I will try.
Yeah, he's
There's
going to be
about
announced
30
tonight
people
for the
next
Hall
to
of
him.
Fame. I mean, tonight's the night where we see if
Nate
Jim
Burleson walking by right there to our left.
I love Nate Burleson.
We saw Emmett Smith sitting down. Might have a chance at him on Friday, by the way.
Yeah,
little tease.
Yep.
LeVar Arrington over there. Saw Jerome Bettis as well. I forget these people are like live on television that we all watch.
Yeah, right.
And I'm over here looking like a madman power walking around here, and somebody just sent me a Snapchat, and they're doing a Jerome Bettis interview. And I'm in the background just power walking through. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of like the scene when they see Forrest Gump running. Like,
right.
Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
No
What's
way.
going on there? I was running. Yeah.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is.
Yeah. Hang on. We may be getting Nate Burleson to sit down. Mac's pointing him to where we are right now.
Is he coming over now?
I don't know if he sits down. You
do
know,
I hold off?
Okay. Yeah. Just hold off for just one quick second
sir.
to see what's going on. I kind of saw Mac out of the corner of my eye. We get Nate Burleson, man. That'd be great because
I'll tell
I think
you something about Nate Burleson, man. This guy was a great receiver in the league, man. He knows how to get down with the crawfish.
Yeah. Well, maybe I guess we're not getting Nate Burleson, so I don't know what's going on. Mac's got the look of like he just discovered Santa Claus on his face, right? Like he's very, very happy. And then Hugh Douglas has got the French toast. Maybe that's what Mac was smiling at.
He tried to take Hugh's French toast, huh?
He was like, "You ain't touching my French toast, little man. Like, get away from that stuff."
Mac, do we go Jay Glazer or we get Nate over here? Just go Jay Glazer? Mac says go Jay Glazer, as we do every single time. We are brought to you by, our guest appearances are brought to you by Bud Light, the official sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. When we get you sitting down with guests, we get you set up. Jay Glazer, do you want to see a three-peat?
No, I'd love to see. I always love seeing greatness. Love it.
Yeah.
Right. And for us to be doing the game at Fox.
All right, you guys are clear. 12 minutes.
And to be part of that, absolutely. But I'm so close with so many people on both these teams. I got a lot of mental health buddies on these teams, and so I kind of look at it like I can't lose. Like either way, I'm going to be celebrating somebody. But yeah, of course, I want to see greatness. I always love seeing that.
And it's something that we've never seen. You've been covering this league for so long. I mean, this is
33
something
years,
different, man. Like we get the opportunity to sit here and witness something that's never been done before. And that's kind of the way I am. Not because we're Kansas City guys or anything like that. I mean, who wouldn't want to see a three-peat other than Philadelphia, right?
Well, the great thing about sports is you get to tell your grandkids later on in life, hey, I was there, I saw this.
Right.
Or you had to see this, or your kids, you know what I mean? It's really cool. Like I tell my son, Sammy, all the time, different things. Obviously he has a lot of cool uncles, but like when Strahan won the, Super Bowl, my son was 5, and I get to tell him, like, Sammy, when your Uncle Michael did this, it's really cool.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, and your relationship with Strahan does go back a long time.
It's my baby sister.
Yeah, I mean, like how did you guys connect and form that bond?
So it was 1993. I'd already been in the business for like 4 years and hadn't gotten paid. I got a job covering the Giants for this Giants Extra magazine, which paid me for like 2 weeks and then went out of business. But they went Chapter 11, but I still was able to cover the Giants. And then with that, I got to learn TV doing New York One TV. And Stray was there. He got drafted, basically replaced Lawrence Taylor. He got bad teeth and a speech impediment, and LT is still on the team. Not a good mix, right?
Right.
So he wasn't exactly the most popular guy. And then for me, being the other media guys, I looked at it. I walked in that Giant locker room in '93, and I'm like, man, I don't have the same education as these guys. I have no experience. How could I be different? And one, I'm like, if these guys work 40 hours a week, I'm going to outwork them, not by a little, by a lot. I'll be here 100 hours a week. And the other thing was, again, how can I be different? I thought back then everybody used their pen as a weapon, and so I'm going to start relationships. I have more in common with these guys than what no one knew at the time. Also, like I was fighting, so I had more in common with these players than I did my fellow reporter. And the crazy part was, again, I was making $9,450 a year. Basically, that was my average for the first 11 years of my career, living in New York City. And I didn't have enough for subway to a bus to Giant Stadium and back every day. and Michael Strahan, sometimes Kurt Menefee, drove me back into the city every single day of my life for 7 years. So I'm like $28,000 in Lincoln Tunnel fare, but
and now congestion pricing.
So this game, two giants in each of their, no pun intended, I guess, but in each of their own divisions, AFC, NFC. How does Philadelphia's defensive line stop Patrick Mahomes going to go do Patrick Mahomes things? Because that's a dynamite defensive line on Philadelphia.
I don't know the answer to that because who has?
Right.
Hey, you know what? He's kind of doing now, too. It's like Patrick used to hit home runs all game long, right? And just, knock you out early. And now it's almost changed. And that's where his greatness. Like when they had Tyreek Hill, all right, everything was deep. Then all of a sudden now everything's underneath. And it's almost like this year is almost like, all right, we got a 12-round fight. We're going to keep it close in the scorecards. And then Patrick's going to get you in the 12th round. He's always going to beat you in the 12th round. And we're going to get our hand raised at the end. I think kind of that's been their approach this year.
Yeah, it has
All
been.
you care about that hand getting raised. Doesn't matter if it's 58-0 or, 10-6.
Yeah, but see, I think a lot of people, though, Jay Glazer, are stuck in 2018, and they think the Chiefs aren't where they need to be because they're not scoring 40
They're
a
exactly
game.
where they need to be. They're in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl. No, that's exactly right. Like you hear it all the time. Oh, and I've been on this warpath for 2 years now. People telling me Travis Kelce's washed. I see you're drinking something you shouldn't be. Patrick Mahomes just isn't the same quarterback. No, but he's adapted and adjusted to every single team that he's been part of. I think that's the most impressive thing of Patrick Mahomes. You need me to go 50 and 5,000, fine.
Right.
You need me to go 30 and 2,000, fine. I can figure it out.
And he has a different mindset. I was talking to him yesterday, too. It's just everything for him is a mindset. It's different. And, you see athletes now. Here's what I love about Patrick. Being famous ain't the same as being great. Okay? And Travis, too. And too many guys come in this league now, and they're all famous because of social media. And it used to be the only way you got endorsements was to make Pro Bowls. And now that's changed. You don't have guys with that same work ethic. Mm-hmm. And you have Travis Kelce, who plays through every freaking injury, which we don't even know about, right? You have Patrick Mahomes, who plays through every injury. I even said to him yesterday, like, dude, you've never missed a game with a high ankle sprain. That's 3 to 6 weeks for most guys. I missed a game.
6 months for me.
I missed practice. It's a mindset. Those guys have that different mindset than most of what comes in the league now.
I'm glad you bring that up. Speaking of mindsets, we hear Andy Reid throughout this playoff run that he's had with Houston and then Buffalo, and then people have asked him, like, what's changed from older Andy Reid to now? And he seems
zero.
He seems like when it comes to the games, everything's slowed down even more. That to me sounds completely dangerous if that's what Andy Reid has seen, because now it's almost like everything is slow motion.
He's seen it all.
Yeah.
But Andy has this thing where he's like, your favorite uncle you just don't want to disappoint.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing, right? And, like, nothing bothers him. It's like, okay, this guy went down. All right, we'll get this guy. Brett Veach also does such a great – what I think the job that Brett Veach has done is so amazing, because why would anybody do business with the Chiefs?
Right.
And yet he continues. I mean, draft day, trade with Buffalo for Worthy. Mm-hmm. If the Chiefs are calling and they're like, hey, we're trying to trade up, I'm trying to knock you off the post here. There's no way I'm trading with you. And he gets him a trade, right? Trading for D-Hop. It's like he continues to do it. I don't think that's talked about enough.
I agree.
Like, why would you do business with the Chiefs? You're trying to knock them off. Don't do anything that's going to help them.
Yeah.
And yet he continues to bring in reinforcements. It's incredible.
You sound like you're listening to us at times, too, because every time they make a trade with Buffalo or whoever, I'm like, why are you even answering the phone?
Right.
Like when his number
and by the way, a
pops
lot
up,
of people don't, and yet he still is persistent, and he'll get people to make these
So
moves.
there are people in the league who refuse to do business with the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Name teams. No, I'm kidding. But no, I think that's good to hear, because that's the way I would be. I mean, I'm wearing my Brett Veach Town T-shirt because that's how big a fan I am of him, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's like everybody loves Howie Roseman, and God love him, he's done a nice job. But Brett Veach can just walk around and show rings, and it feels like he's the understudy in all of this.
And he is, instead, he is a lot of the mastermind, too. He's brought it all in.
I want to ask you this, and then I want to ask you something kind of more serious on the backside of this interview. You see this team, you see this dynasty that's been ran by the Kansas City Chiefs. Brett Veach, you mentioned. I think he's the most – a lot of people, they hate, like we talked about, they hate these guys. They don't like them because they keep winning, and Brett Veach should be the one guy that you hate the most. But I want to ask you this. After this year, this Kansas City Chiefs team will have movements. They will have different things. Does this sort of thing continue to keep going?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no reason to believe it ever stops, right? At least for the time being.
No, because also the way they put people get, as long as you have Patrick, the same thing with Tom. 10 Super Bowls.
Right.
You got Tom. whoever you bring in is going to be much better. And the guys like Tom and Patrick, too, what people don't get also, is how much they help everybody else in there. Like, I remember being at and now I'm proud to have Tom Brady as my teammate. It's really cool. I'll never forget, man, I'm at Bucs camp. I see this with my own eyes. They got some, like, practice squad corner. And Tom runs over to him and says, hey, when I do this, you're doing this and you're tipping this. I need you to do this. So I don't see what you're doing. And then I was just like, why? He goes, well, if I make him better, that's going to make that receiver he's going against better, which will make us better. And there ain't too many guys like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes who will go help some practice squad corner who may be there for 2 days and just make them better.
Yeah.
We had Bernie Kosar on today. Had a lot of good things to say about mental health, everything that really awesome interview, honestly. What about you with ADHD and all that sort of stuff? What do we do with that moving forward?
Yeah, that's why I'm here talking about ADHD awareness. And look, I've been really open about I don't call them struggles. Now I kind of call them my superpower. I used to call them struggles. And I have depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADHD, you name it, I got it. And, for years I created a version of myself, but it was one that I wouldn't show anybody. And it's funny because, like, I've trained football players. First one was Chief, Jared Allen, 2007 in mixed martial arts. And my whole thing with our football players and fighters, if you were hurt or tired, you will never, ever, ever know. I will never show it. We don't take a stool in between rounds because I'm going to break you. I want to see you where you start. Oh, you put your hands on your hips, now you're screwed. If I hear you go, oh, and you could actually, when you try and break someone, you can hear it. It's like a twig breaking. It's freaking incredible. And I go and talk to teams about that, saying, we need that in football and fighting. But it's that same mindset outside that cage or outside those white lines that get people like me to crawl up in a ball in the corner of my room and freaking cry out of nowhere. Or people want to throw themselves off a bridge. So I started talking about it openly. We need to start leaning into each other with this mental health.
Yeah.
So I'm here for ADHD. I won't go and talk to these teams. And like I was diagnosed in 1989 with ADHD. And back then no one really knew what it was. And I used to have to go tell my teachers, and I got put on these stimulant drugs, which for me were not good. It made my gray a lot darker and a lot more violent. And I pushed away a lot of good people in my life. And so I've tried so many different things, and I finally, had to find other ways. And when I go talk to these teams about ADHD, I'm like, guys, it's like you're drowning. And if I'm in a three-hour lecture, it's like I'm drowning. And my only breath of fresh air is to disrupt the class, or to have an outburst, or to leave class early, or do something, which I always get. I'm like, you think I want to get in trouble all the time? And I tell these coaches, we are not capable of sitting in these lectures. It's like we're drowning. You have to understand it. But now I have something to help me in Kelbury. And I actually take it at night, which is the complete opposite of every other pharmaceutical I've taken, which geeks you up. So it's so beautiful that I've been able to talk about this to help other people, but I've been able to get help now that I wouldn't have known was available if I didn't start becoming vulnerable and talk about it. And the ADHD part, I tell parents all the time too, like, listen, your kids, man, we trust me, we don't want to disrupt the class. We don't want to be grounded. We're just not capable of it. And now we have a
30 seconds.
that makes me capable of it.
And I think it's good to talk about because as adults, we start to realize more. Like I didn't realize until my mid-40s that I deal with some of the same stuff that you're talking about. See somebody, talk to somebody, and how much better you feel by being – it's nothing you need to hide.
No, I don't need to hide.
All right, 15 seconds.
For me also, like, how has it become my superpower? I've looked now at my ADHD, my depression, my anxiety, where they become my superpower. And if
I got you. You're real quiet, though.
Okay.
5 seconds.
Totally different way of thinking for me than it was 4 years ago, man.
All right, that is Jay Glazer. As all guests are brought to you by Bud Light and Academy Sports Outdoors. They gear up for the three-peat. So do you. Get all your Chiefs gear, your big game gear at Academy Sports. This is Dusty Lang, Bob Fescoe. You're listening live from Radio Row at 96.5 The Fan. Your home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to
hear me?
Fescoe and Dusty live.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Radio Row,
Nathan, was
brought
that
to
okay
you
over
by
here?
Bud Light.
Yeah, it was fine. You're a little quiet.
I gotta get Mac over here. I don't know the levels.
Yeah, but I just potted you up. We're good.
All right, I'm ready.
Responsibly and by
Cool, Bob. 10 seconds.
Okay.
Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their
5 seconds.
This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, we know the big game is here because we're in New Orleans, and you want to let Smokehouse Barbecue cater your watch party with their big game party pack. We're talking about 2 pounds of brisket, a pound of wings, a quart of mac and cheese, a quart of beans and buns, all for just $89.95, which is going to serve 6 to 8 fans for the big game. You want to make sure you order your big game party pack now, and you can do that at smokehousebbq.com. After the big game,
You were like him, sometimes it's a mental fatigue seeing all the social media, sometimes the text line. He's like, yeah, you just turn it off. I suffer from it. I'm not mad about it.
No, and
I'll come on your show and talk about it.
Yeah, I really do kind of relate to him from the social media aspect of things and the mental health side of things. Look, I've talked about it before. I've gone to therapy. I've talked to people about things that are going on in my life and the difficulties of just navigating daily life. Man, it's no shame to admit that you went and saw a shrink or a therapist or a psychiatrist or however you want to call it. Like, it's good, it's healthy to talk about some of these things that are bothering you, and you can talk about them, and you can just feel the release of that stress and that pressure in your body when you're having those type of conversations. No, I talked to Jay on Monday night about it. I said, the one thing I really appreciate about him being an insider is that I know when Jay Glazer speaks, he has something important and vital, and I said, I too do appreciate that you don't run to Twitter and tweet everything out there. You wait till Sunday. He goes, yeah, because Twitter doesn't pay me. And that's the difference between Jay Glazer and every other insider out there. They feel this need and this drug to run to Twitter and to tweet this stuff. Jay Glazer is so comfortable with who he is as a human being. He doesn't need the Twitter. He doesn't need that drug to validate who he is. He goes on NFL Sunday, drops a couple of Jay Glazer bombs on there, and it's always great, powerful information. And I love the fact that he cares about that show and everything that's on there instead of running to Twitter to do it all. So I just really have the utmost respect for Jay Glazer and kind of admire Jay Glazer, man. I got to be honest with you.
Somebody says, awesome from the 816. Awesome. Thank you. Great segment with Glazer. Mental health matters. We had the Bernie Kosar stuff as well. We told Jay Glazer what he told us. Had a different perspective. Never met, never talked to Bernie Kosar, obviously, before my time when it came to sports. Great dude. Good content. Glad that other people can relate to that because sometimes it is more than sports.
It is.
Sometimes it's family. Sometimes it's your significant other. Sometimes you get a head coach that changes your perspective on life if, like, you're Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce.
Yep, and Travis Kelce today at the media availability, which I guess is currently going on, Dusty, right now for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce's up there talking about the relationship that he has with Andy Reid, and he said, and this according to our friend Mackenzie Nelson, I owe everything to him for my career. And you start to think about, Travis Kelce, and he's a great case study, if you will, in how to grow up as an adult, right? I mean, Travis Kelce is absolutely the role model that you should have if you're looking at how to do life, because he came into this thing in his 20s and obviously smoked a little weed at Cincinnati back when weed was verboten and everybody frowned upon it, and they kicked him off the team. And we know the story about draft night. Andy calls, Jason and says, is your brother, a dip poop, or should I draft him? And Jason goes, no, draft him. He'll be a good kid for you. And Andy says, I'm trusting you with this, Jason. I'm trusting that this guy is grown up and he's mature, and I'm going to take him, and I'm going to see what happens. And then we know how Travis came into the league. Missed that first year with injury, and then was kind of a 25-year-old kid who acts, like a 25-year-old kid before you mature, before you have life experiences. And then Travis matured. And Andy Reid, we know, said publicly, this is it. This is the last straw for Travis Kelce. When he did the rolling of the dice, I think what it was, to the referees, or throwing the flag, or what are the incidents that he had?
Well, he got ejected from the Jacksonville game, and Jacksonville almost came back and beat the Chiefs.
That's right. It was the Jacksonville game.
He became a me, not a we.
Yep,
he was a me, he became a we.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He changed it all around. And Travis Kelce is not considered, in my opinion, the greatest tight end in NFL history if Andy Reid is not his head coach. Quite honestly, Travis Kelce right now is probably not in the NFL. He's probably not Travis Kelce if Andy Reid isn't the guy leading him. And that's the things that happen in this organization that are so powerful from other organizations. And yeah, I'm getting a little emotional talking about it because you look at what Andy Reid has done, not just on the field, but he took a guy like Travis Kelce, who really was just a bro and didn't have really much direction on football and life, and Andy Reid took him in and changed his whole career. And now we're not only talking about the greatest tight end who have ever played the game, we're also talking about one of the greatest pop culture figures in America today. He does owe. And I love the fact that at 35 years old, or however old Travis is now, I owe everything to him for my career. And he's not just talking about football. Andy Reid helped Travis Kelce become the guy that he is today. And there's not enough thank yous, boxes of chocolate, whatever you want to give out to thank Andy Reid for what he's done to change Travis Kelce's life and direct him the right way.
Yeah, I'll take it back even further. You mentioned episodes early in Travis's career about, maybe being a hothead or maybe being a young 20-some-year-old guy.
Right.
To me, there are two instances that changed Travis Kelce's career path and mantra and attitude and perspective of what he could be. Number one is a game against the Chargers many years ago where he didn't play in the first half, and everybody's asking why. And it was because he broke curfew.
Right.
And at the time, it didn't matter if you were going to be this projected great tight end that he is and now has become. Andy Reid will check your ass. And he did. And the second one is I think he saw Patrick Mahomes play football. And the reason I say this is because there's a guy that plays tight end for the Washington Commanders who's been in the league for quite some time. He used to play in Philadelphia. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The tight end. Yes. And he was told, hey, come watch this rookie camp that we had today and watch this quarterback throw. And when Zach Ertz saw that and heard that, first off, he told his coach, Dan Quinn, why in the hell would I watch rookies? I've been in the league for all this time. What do you want me to – there must be something here. That's why he's telling me to do this. It's like if you say, read this article, you'll like it. Okay, Bob is sending me this and telling me to do this. There must be something there. And he watched Jaden Daniels play football. And he goes, all right, I can get behind this.
Yeah.
And his career was great this year. He was a great leader, great tight end. Travis Kelce saw Patrick Mahomes play football at training camp and goes, okay, I'm going to get serious because this guy might change what we can be. And like you said, Alex Smith kind of segued into that, and then Patrick Mahomes kind of took over, and their careers became something, and they did this run, and he's had these moments, and that's why he waits now to be the celebratory 25-year-old Trav that he was, like at the parades and all that sort of stuff. But during the season, all business, all-time leader in this organization, is going to go down as one of the greatest Kansas City Chiefs of all time. We may not have been saying that 10 years ago.
No, and we weren't saying that 10 years ago. It wasn't even in the conversation. It was like, I mean, is this guy worth anything? Can we trade him? Can we move him on? I mean, is he ever going to grow up? Those were the conversations that were surrounding Travis Kelce, and rightfully so at that point in his career. And then he grew up, and I think there's a lot of us, I think, no matter what profession you do, you have that moment where you have to say to yourself, I either have to grow up and do the right thing, or I'm going to be a total loser living in a box down here on Poydras Street, underneath a bridge for the rest of my life, getting gout. And so you have to have those moments. I think we all have those kind of wake up moments where you're like, all right, it's put up or shut up time, and Travis Kelce realized that, and he's sitting here today. And how many other guys has Andy Reid impacted, not just on this team, but maybe in the NFL, where he's absolutely changed their lives around? And I think there's so much. That's why guys play for Andy Reid, because it's not just about the X's and O's and he's done for the day. He takes a human interest in these players and making them the best human beings that they can be. And we're just so very fortunate to have it here and to watch it right before our eyes. And, there's so many guys and people in this organization over the years that have created this. It's like peeling back of the onion. You mentioned Alex Smith. I mean, where are we without Alex Smith in all of this, right? Like, how are we not sitting around thinking about Alex Smith and if he doesn't come to Kansas City and the impact that he had on the team, but also the impact that he had on Patrick Mahomes. And, all those guys that have come through this organization have been very, very vital to get us to where we are today. And then just to hear Travis kind of reflect on Andy Reid and what he's meant for his career, man, it's awesome to see a guy who's grown up reflect back and realize the difference that one individual potentially makes for them.
Speaking of an individual, Matthew Berry does fantasy football, does stuff for NBC Sports. He joins us now, and again, all guest appearances are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Please drink responsible. Like I said, Matthew Berry. And when it comes to Matthew Berry, should I put all my money on the Chiefs to win this Sunday?
I think so. I like them. Look,
you're clear.
How much time is
I
this?
actually think the Eagles are the better.
10 minutes.
Okay,
top
great.
to bottom. I think they're more talented. But Mahomes over Hurts, Reid over Sirianni.
Yep.
Those are the to Tampa Bay. And all due respect to Jalen Hurts, he ain't Tom Brady.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you bring that up, because for 5 years now, I picked the Chiefs to win every game 35-0. And people think I'm nuts, right? Which I am. I'm not going to deny that. But I had somebody last night say to me, he goes, every day I listen to you, and every week it's the same thing. You never pick them to lose. I go, but why would you? Why would you ever bet and pick against the Kansas City Chiefs? They went 15-1 this year with their starters, and they won the Super Bowl last year, and you couldn't tell me a wide receiver on the team.
Yeah, well, there's no question about it. I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done. The other thing is that I think this is an underrated part of this game coming up. You look at the underlying numbers. Jalen Hurts, when under pressure this year, has been bad. He traditionally hasn't been, but this year, when you can get to him, when you can blitz him, when he's been under pressure, he's been really, really bad. And so I think I'm sure Spags is aware of that, and I'm sure they're going to design a lot of exotic blitzes and bring pressure on Jalen Hurts. My expectation, I'm sure you guys have talked about this, but right, they're going to say like, we're going to stop Saquon. We're going to load the box. We're going to try to stop Saquon. We're going to make Jalen beat us, and if they can bring a bunch of pressure and get to Jalen, I think they've got a good chance here.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's the key because I don't know that Jalen Hurts can beat the Chiefs. I think Saquon Barkley could potentially do that, but I don't know that Jalen Hurts can.
I don't think so either. I think to me the way the Chiefs lose this game is if they can't move the ball against the defense. If the Eagles are able to turn them into a one-dimensional team, and somehow Mahomes doesn't have a good game, I can't imagine that. But the run game has struggled somewhat, although it's gotten better with Hunt, and so they're very hard to run on. So they're like, we're going to make you a one-dimensional team, and I don't know if there's a tip ball, if there's a pick, if there's a turnover, something like that. Philadelphia throughout the playoffs, they've really feasted on turnovers. They got the 3 against Washington. They got a couple against the Rams. They got a couple against the Packers. Like, they've really just been awesome in the turnover battle throughout the playoffs. And so I think, assuming the Chiefs can hold on to the ball, I think the Chiefs are winning. That's who I've been picking.
I think it's
and not just because I'm talking to Kansas City radio.
Yeah. No, and I think it's interesting as we're with Matthew Berry here on 96.5 The Fan. I think it's interesting you say that with the turnover battles. Look at that Rams game. That was a snow apocalypse, right? So there were conditions. Rookie quarterback. I know Daniels is great. He's going to be great. It's an NFC Championship game, and I think in that game it looked like maybe the lights were a little too bright. At least maybe.
I don't think for Daniels, but I mean like Jeremy McNichols was Diami Brown. Like Daniels didn't have any turnovers, but it was Austin Eckler, it was Jeremy McNichols, and Diami Brown are the 3 fumbles. And all due respect, you shouldn't have Diami Brown and Jeremy McNichols in high leverage situations in an NFC Championship game, which again goes to speak to like the brilliance of Dan Quinn and what a magical year Washington had given the state of their roster.
And then I don't know if I missed something last night, but again, none of those guys are Patrick Mahomes, none of those guys are Andy Reid. So again, you add that factor into it. So like, yeah, on paper those all look great. They look awesome, but you're going up against the 2 that are the conductor and the musician in this whole thing. But did I miss something last night? Because I saw a lot of people say the Chiefs were no longer favored in this game. But everything I've seen today, it's a 1.5 favorite on the Chiefs side.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I mean, I've been literally going from interview to interview to interview, so I haven't actually checked today, see if the line has moved. But yeah, everything I've seen is they're 1.5 favorites.
Right.
And they should be, by the way. Based on everything they've done, they've been here before. They've done it. Like I said, like Andy Reid in 15. Like those are the 2 most important positions on a football field, and the Chiefs have an advantage in a big way there. The thing that I think is underrated here is that the Chiefs are sort of getting healthy at the right time, right? And I think if I'm Vic Fangio, like, all right, well, what am I stopping, right? Am I trying to focus on Juju? Am I trying to focus on Hollywood Brown? They didn't use Hopkins at all, but is this going to be like a big Hopkins game?
Yeah.
Like Kelsey didn't have a lot in the game against the Bills, but like, are we going to ignore Travis Kelsey? Like, there's so many different ways that the Chiefs can beat you, and obviously Xavier Worthy's going to be involved in a big way, and so I think if I'm Fangio, it's just trying to figure out where I'm trying to stop, and I just always feel like Andy and his staff always have like, wait, what a shovel pass to Noah Gray? What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And it's always something, right, that you just don't expect. Like, whatever. Wait, they won the Super Bowl on a Mecole Hardman who wasn't even on the team like 3 months prior. Like, I don't know. It just.
Last year it was literally Mecole Hardman and Kadarius Toney.
Right.
I mean,
right.
On a play they did over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. Exactly. So I just it's sort of trust in 15, trust in Andy Reid.
Are you willing to crown these guys as the greatest of all time if they complete this thing on Sunday night?
I don't know how you don't. Right. I did get this question about Mahomes versus Brady. If Mahomes wins this one, if he's got whatever, that would be his 4th Super Bowl ring, right? And he's 27? 29, right. But so his 4th Super Bowl ring under the age of 30. Is he now officially the greatest of all time? Is he better than Brady? Is he, and my take is like, I don't think so. Even if they win, Mahomes is magical, right? Mahomes is a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer. He's on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks. If he doesn't throw another pass in the NFL, that's, asked and answered. But my only argument about Brady versus Mahomes is this. Brady did it in his 20s, and he did it in his 40s.
Yeah.
He did it with Belichick. He did it without Belichick. He did it on 2 different teams.
Right.
He did it with Randy Moss. He did it with Julian Edelman. I mean, not that he won with Randy Moss, but you know what I mean? Like, he's had a variety of different players and types of offenses that he's done. He's done it over a long career. Patrick has done it only with Andy Reid, only with Travis Kelce. Like, again, I'm not trying to knock him for that. I'm just merely saying when you compare him, and it's unfair to compare a 29-year-old with with a legend of Tom Brady, but that's the world we live in where people have to have hot takes. It's just that I just don't think it's a fair comparison right now. Like, again, talk to me when Patrick's in his 40s, right? And,
sure.
Like at the rate he's going, he could win more than Brady. But I don't know. I would argue you could make an argument that the team is the greatest of all time if they win this three-peat. But I don't know if I'm ready to say Patrick is.
What if Tom passes the torch on the broadcast on Sunday night and goes, look, man, he did something I couldn't do. I look at him now as the greatest of all time. How would that change perception of everything?
I mean, it's weird. Certainly it would be a magnanimous moment, and I think people are like, Tom, you were on a broadcast. You're just, you caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
Whatever. It'll be a debate for a long time. It's a fun debate, right? It's what a great debate. The other, and I don't know if it's fair to make this comparison, but one of the other challenges is that, like, they're playing with different skill sets. Like, just on a pure athletic basis, Mahomes is a better athlete than Tom. And so does Patrick get dinged for that? Because Tom did more with less, if you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Patrick
Mahomes
is
a dad bod.
I know, but like, his father was a major league pitcher. Like, I mean, Mahomes is just a fantastic athlete.
Right.
Like, and then brilliance in clutch moments and making the right reads and just, all of that goes into the greatness. But he started from a better foundation, I guess, than Brady did, right? A guy that was a first-round pick versus a sixth-round pick, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. You do. I know you've done a lot of fantasy stuff in your life before, and still kind of do, and all these sort of bets and matchups and stuff like that. What are two matchups that you're interested in this game this Sunday?
I'm interested in the Chiefs' defense against Dallas Goedert. During the regular season, no team in the NFL gave up more receiving yards to opposing tight ends than the Kansas City Chiefs. And Goddard has led the Eagles in receptions and receiving yards throughout their playoff run. So I know there's going to be a lot of focus on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but I actually think Goddard is a big key for the Eagles. So for me, that's really interesting, that matchup. And I also say, like, again, not one individual matchup, but just I think the line play. Like, if there's one weakness that you can sort of point to with Kansas City, it's that offensive line. Philadelphia has a great defensive line. Can they stop Jalen Carter? Can they protect him? Now, one of my favorite bets is Patrick Mahomes over on his rushing yards because he runs a lot. He runs more in the playoffs. I think pressure will break down. In these big games, Patrick does whatever he can to win the game, and so I think he will tuck and run. And so I like that, but that's going to be, I think, one of the keys is can they get to Patrick? Can the line give him enough time for him to do what he does?
Matthew, do you like the Chiefs winning this thing as we talked about at the beginning? Big, or is it going to be a tight one where we win it at the end and go to overtime?
Guys, 15 seconds.
I don't think it's overtime, but I think they cover the 1.5. If you like that. So
Butker with a minute left, and it looks like Tom Brady all over again.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Fair enough.
5 seconds.
Hi, Matthew. Thank you for all the things you're doing for us, and we appreciate the time.
You bet. Take care.
That is Matthew Berry here joining us live at Radio Row for Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan. And again, all our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during this historic run. We'll have Denzel Ward. He'll join us in around the 9 o'clock hour. But again, it's been fun, guys. Bob's been bitten by the bug. You can see that he has taken the mask off to breathe, but he had his Mardi Gras mask on and everything there for you. And again, this big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is also brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. Coming up on the other side, here on Fescoe and Dusty, Spags is the greatest of all time. There is no debate. We explain why on the other side. Here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
You're clear.
From New Orleans at
Bob, you got Aspen in 20 seconds.
Yep.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink
broadcasting live from Euro in New Orleans. Thanks to our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, drink responsibly. You never know who's going to sit down with you. We were sacked by our next guest. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
Wow, that was a bad pun, Dusty.
I'm sorry. Trey Hendrickson's joined us from the Cincinnati Bengals now, and all our guests are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, drink responsibly. I've got to ask, man, do you want to see the Chiefs do it, or do you want to see Philadelphia knock them off?
It's one of those things that as a competitor, I wish I was in it. But obviously, I lean towards the AFC and the competitors that we have. I think it's a talented group. And we're doing a three-peat, that seems pretty special.
Yeah, it really does. I figured as a Bengal player, you'd probably say, I hate these guys. I don't want to see them have the success because I view you personally as our rival right now. And it is because you beat us, the one time at Arrowhead, Burrowhead, however you want to call it. But I look at the Bengals as that's the team I always want to beat now. Do you have that same kind of, are the Chiefs the team for you guys that you think about all the time now?
Well, I think Josh Allen put it pretty well. It's like if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And, we had goals to go to the playoffs. Obviously, we fell short of those things. But watching the Chiefs, year in and year out, you have to respect that. Talented group, well coached, and continually in the Super Bowl is a special thing.
What do you guys, how do you stop Patrick Mahomes? I say, what do you guys try to do to stop Patrick Mahomes? I asked C.J. Gardner-Johnson that. It was 4-second pause of play football was his answer. How do you try to stop this team in this offense and Patrick Mahomes?
Well, they're just so calm out there. Even if you have multiple looks, they're making checks, and it's almost organic with them. And I think that's super special when you're talking about a leader as Pat Mahomes is and his offense. So, I have nothing but credit to him. He's done it at a high level. When you try to stop him, like I said, it's kind of being multiple, making sure he's not sure what we're in and trying to throw him off. But at the end of the day, players make plays. We need to, make a play to stop them.
Yeah, talking to Trey Hendrickson here from Cincinnati. How's the finger, first off? It's still heavily wrapped, but doing all right?
Oh, yeah.
It still looks gnarly?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the off season, so you get to, bundle everything up.
That's right.
Spit and tape.
And you're no stranger to these streets. Obviously, you were here with New Orleans for those years, but you're coming up back-to-back 17.5 sacks. What's it like to come back to the place that drafted you?
It's special, this place took an opportunity to me at FAU, and I have nothing but good things to say about the Benson family, their organization from top down. They were really special to be a part of, and obviously when you're talking about Sean Payton, Drew Brees, and that defense that I was a part of, I made relationships that'll last forever. I learned things from great vets like Thomas Morstead, how to recover as a special teams player for him. Demario Davis, leadership. Cam Jordan, leadership. Malcolm Jenkins, leadership. And how to be vocal in a locker room.
So when you played here in New Orleans, you mentioned Sean Payton. Obviously, he's in Denver right now. You came in with a pretty good head coach, not one of these slappies that's yelling Duval and things like that. What was it like to have a real, legit, true, die-in-the-wool, won a Super Bowl champion, legit head coach right away in the NFL?
Oh, I think it was pretty special. Even as a defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen, he's been a head coach multiple times. And, I got to see high-functioning coaching at a young spot. And then to go with Zach and also high-functioning coach in an offensive realm as well. I've been tremendously blessed. My two quarterbacks are Drew Brees and Joe Burrow. I think I've been pretty spoiled. But even the talent that surrounds those guys, good people, good locker rooms. These 8 years have flown by. I'm incredibly blessed.
Joe seems like the coolest MFer out there, man.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah,
cool
what's
guy.
it like hanging out with Joe Burrow and just doing Joe Burrow things?
Joe is he's a competitor in everything. If you're just you're flipping a coin or we're playing for like an AFC championship, he's bringing that same intensity, and I think that's the things that rub off on the rest of the locker room is that his will to win, hard work, and everything he does, and then obviously he's doing it with some cool swagger.
Right.
Yeah.
I know the goal every year is Super Bowl. That's everybody's main goal at the season starts. You're in the AFC. You know who the top dog is, right? You guys have done it. You've beaten Kansas City in Kansas City. Been a little bit, but when you start your season, do you know that that's one of the rungs in the ladder? That's a focal point, or is it just we'll play the season and when we play them, we play them?
Well, I think we have mutual respect for everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're playing the Chiefs, Baltimore, Buffalo. You're going into those games. No, it's going to be a gritty fist fight. Great offensive coaches. And these guys are highly talented, meaning roster built around. But, you don't ever want to go into something where you're sleeping on any team in the National Football League, because the saying goes, any given Sunday for a reason. And we both been on some of that side of like winning and losing based upon circumstances that shouldn't have happened. So it's the National Football League. We're paid to do what we love. Coaches are as well. And obviously you guys reporting about it too. It just makes a fun environment and you cut it loose.
It's great. So obviously we stink because you gave me some free Old Spice deodorant here, black cherry and bourbon. Sounds like something I want to drink tonight on Bourbon Street. But I mean, like this right here going to keep me smelling good.
Yeah, Old Spice, total body dry field deodorant. It's keeping the NFL fresh 24/7. It's one of the things that I think from starting in 2017 to now, I think we smell better than ever. So especially on Bourbon Street, you're going to need it.
Well, yeah. So give us a spot to go to. Give us one thing we got to do for the next couple of days in New Orleans. We've been here since Sunday, but we're starting to get to that weekend, and wife's flying into town and all that kind of stuff on Saturday. So we got a couple of more nights to get wild. What should we be doing?
I think you got to just snag a po' boy for lunch. I mean, it's one of the greatest pleasures. I mean, obviously, if you're staying for an extended period of time, a crawfish boil is the way to go.
Okay.
But
do you suck the head?
I'm going to pass on that.
Same.
Yeah, I'm going to pass on that. But some people do. Like, that's acquired taste. I'm from Florida, so I got the experience.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing though.
Well, Hey, Trey, we appreciate the time. Who Day Nation, we respect you guys.
We
you guys
do.
are
We do, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks
Take
for
care,
having me.
man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yes, sir.
Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals. 17.5 sacks back-to-back years, which means he's probably going to get 17.5 next year, so bet the over. Again, our guests are all brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rev your team during their historic run. What a guy that guy was.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Cool dude.
You're really cool dude.
30 years old, didn't think it.
Did you think he was 30? When
December
I said
5th, man, that's his birthday.
When I said, how old are you, and he said 30, my face dropped. Like, he looks like he's about 22 years old.
And in the back of your head, you're like, please tell me I don't look like I'm 47.
No, I know I do, though.
No way,
That's
man.
why I wear the mask.
Young at heart, baby. Young at heart. Coming back on the other side. We'll have Denzel Ward join
That's
us a
one
little
lucky
bit
man.
later. That no doubt, man.
That's one lucky man.
That guy could just absolutely rock it out all day long. That was Trey Hendrickson. That's Bob Fescoe. I'm Dusty Leggett. You are listening to 96.5 The Fan, and it is your home for the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
Yep.
You're clear.
Radio Row,
We can be
brought to you
back
by
talking.
Bud Light, the official.
Let's do it right now. Hey,
Easy to
Nathan, just
drink,
come back.
easy
Just
to
come back from break.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
And
right
by
now.
Academy Sports.
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Okay.
Gearing up for their third straight title. And Academy
nice to
Sports
meet you,
and
man.
Outdoors has
Kurt, how
everything
are you, man? Good to
need
see you.
rep your team during their historic run. This is your home for Chiefs.
5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
All right, that was a quick break because, again, you don't know who's going to stop down. And when they look at you and they say Kurt Warner's going to join you, again, all our guests brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. You're no stranger to this event. The Super Bowl, you've been to 2, right? You know how
Three.
to do 3. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
forget.
don't short me.
Sorry, hold
Hey,
on, let
when
me
it comes
get
to
more.
Super Bowls,
Yeah,
you
3.
can't ever
3.
short me. No.
Speaking of 3, 4-3-peat here, Kansas City Chiefs against Philadelphia Eagles. What do you want to see, Kurt Warner? Greatness or the greatness get knocked off?
I really don't have a preference. Like, I don't come into these things with a rooting interest in, I want this team to win or that team to win, or I want them to stop. Like, I want to see, you mentioned, I want to see greatness.
Yeah.
And that can be on either side. I want to see a great football game. I want to see the best players play their best football. And then is it who makes the play in the moment or which team is better, because you want the best team to win. And so, three-peat, how awesome would that be?
It's
Like,
unbelievable.
we're already seeing something really special with this group, with Andy Reid, with obviously Patrick Mahomes. And so I've enjoyed every minute of that.
Right.
But I love what the Eagles have built too. I mean, Howie Roseman has done a great job of building a really, really good football team. And I think maybe the better football team just on paper and what you've seen all year long. But that's what makes these moments great, is that, who's going to separate themselves in the moment? Who's going to play their best for 60 minutes? As I know, right? You go in as the favorite. Sometimes you go in as the underdog. But it's about 60 minutes, and that's the beautiful thing about our sport. It's not best of 7. It's one game. Who plays their best in that moment?
Yeah, the first Super Bowl I covered was the one you guys played, the Patriots. And
Okay.
I'll never forget being down there at that Super Bowl and hearing one guy ask a question to Bill Belichick late in the week. He goes, "You guys are the big underdog. Nobody's picking you to win. Why should anybody believe that the Patriots could win?" And we all kind of laughed at that question. There's no chance that the Patriots are going to be able to win. What has to be that mindset going in to the Super Bowl to make sure you just don't get caught up in everything and you are the better team that day?
And that is it. That's a big part of it. You know, I remember in that Super Bowl, you go because you're in the city for all week long.
Right.
And you're trying to figure out, what do I do being in a hotel room all day, every day? You don't have your routine. You don't have your kids. You don't have your wife. So you're trying to figure it out because you can't always go outside because then it's just being mobbed with fans. And so it's like, what do I do? And you pop on the TV and everybody on the TV says, the Rams are going to win. Like it's a given. And so you have to fight those battles oftentimes of listening to the noise or, hey, they're going to have to do this or Kurt's going to have to play this way. And to be able to shut all of that out throughout a week is, to me, the biggest key. Like, focus on football. Focus on the game plan. Get away from it when you need to get away from it so it doesn't beat you up. The first Super Bowl I was in, I remember I was so worn out by the time we got to the game because I didn't know how to handle all of it that I'm like, can we just get this game over with and go? You know, like, who wants to go into the Super Bowl going, can we just get the game over with? So it's managing all of those emotions. It's managing everything that you hear throughout the week and being able to focus through that on just playing your best football game and doing the little things that you need to do. And the teams that handle that the best and can play their best obviously give themselves a chance to win.
I'm going to ask you a quick question that I don't know that you've ever been asked before. Maybe you don't even know the answer to this question. Do you win that Super Bowl if Vermeil's still the coach? Because I got a good relationship with Vermeil. He's one of my favorite people of all time. I know how you feel about him. If he's there for that second one, do you guys win that Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think all that speculation is so hard to say. You know, we got outplayed in that game. We didn't play our best football game, for those 60 minutes. And we had a chance to win, but that's what I look back on now and say, for whatever reason, does he help prepare us a little bit different? I have no idea. To me, at the end of the day, we had a plan in place. We were good enough to win. We just didn't play well enough that day, and that was the difference.
Kurt, we appreciate the time. Real quick, score prediction or a victory you want to give? I know you got a busy week.
I do have a busy week. I always save that for Sunday because I'm wrestling back and forth. It's like I think the Eagles are the better team, but number 15 is number 15, and so I'm not really sure at this point. As I said, I hope it's a great game. I hope it comes down to one possession for one of these quarterbacks, and we can see one of them go make history.
That is Kurt Warner. You can see Kurt on NFL Network's Super Bowl
59
countdown Saturday, February 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and during the more than 60 hours of live Super Bowl week coverage on NFL and NFL Plus, NFL Network and NFL Plus. That was Kurt Warner, and all our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Don't go anywhere. Keep it here on 96.5 The Fan, because you, me, Bob, Mac, we have no idea who the hell is coming by next or who's going to sit down. We do know that we'll have more for you on the other side here on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
Game day is almost here, Kansas City.
Now, a quick little interview that we did with Pac-Man Jones. As again, all of our guests are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. And Pac-Man Jones joins us now here with Fescoe and Dusty on 96.5 The Fan.
So you're singing over there with Dallas. New career in music, huh?
Yeah, listen. You're clear. Dusty, I'll back. Time to make sure we're back by 9:20.
Jones these days. I hear you're breaking news like it's nobody's business.
Oh, yeah, Black Adam Scheffler. I'm just joking. But enjoying the sports culture and getting a chance to dive into this media thing and do it my way and tell it the way I want to tell it. The Pac-Man Jones show, my co-host Ev, we just do it our way. And we find good moments, viral moments, almost like that good barbershop talk. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, we cover all sports, all culture, hot topics, everything that's going on.
Yeah, I love that you say that you get to do things your way. Post-career, what's been the biggest highlight?
Everything. It's never a dull moment. The show is definitely one of the biggest highlights, the Pac-Man Jones show. We're sponsored by BetOnline.ag. You smell me? No, I'm just playing. But yeah, just getting to do everything that I want to do after football has been really nice. You know what I mean? I'm in the middle of books, movies, about my life. It's a lot of things we got going on. Charity is doing good. We're doing a lot of charity work. I got an album that's about to come out. Just doing a lot of different things, showing these kids like you can really do whatever you want to do. And that's the main thing with me.
One of the cool things, though, I think you're doing too, man, being the godfather to Chris, right? Somehow I became an Ohio State football fan over the last few years. Long story short, my Buckeyes are my guys, right? You got your godson go to Ohio State. What's it been like kind of raising him after his father passed away and you being that father figure?
Well, he's committed to Ohio State. We don't know where he's
all right.
So, no, man, I'm just trying to do my part and just help, you know what I mean, by any means necessary. They worked their ass off to get to where they at. Very proud of them, too. But we don't know where he's going yet, so.
Got to get that NIL deal going a little bit.
They already got an NIL deal.
Nice. So what do you do now, though, in the recruiting process with all of this? It's a lot different, probably, than when you were coming out.
Oh, yeah. First of all, you better get your deals in writing so you don't have to go through the bullshit. But, yeah, it's high school and college is the NFL. It's just the lower level of pay scale. And some of these college kids are getting a pretty good penny.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you a question because you're a defensive-sided guy, right? Like, I mean, that's what you eat, that's what you breathe, that's what you sleep. How would you try to stop Patrick Mahomes?
I would play coverage on him. I would stay in a shell look and make him beat me. I wouldn't give him one-on-one. Yeah, that's how I would do it.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, C.J. Gardner-Johnson kind of had that same pause the other night. How do you beat Patrick Mahomes? It's like, no, does nobody know? Nobody wants to say. Nobody has an idea. I mean, the guy's been so damn dominant for so long.
He's good, man. It's not really him. It's got a lot to do with him, but it's Andy Reid.
Yeah, talk about Andy Reid a little bit, why you think it's Andy and not Patrick Mahomes.
Andy can make anybody wide open, man. I'm not saying it's not Patrick Mahomes, but I'm saying but both of them together. But Andy Reid dials up things that you just don't know. I mean, he just keep plays that's in his pocket. Like last week when he was in a 3-by-1 and motioned the two guys over the back, all over routes with the back out the backfield, like that, he had been dialing. He had been sitting on that play. Like that was a third down, like third and if they don't catch the ball right there, the clock stop. You know that, right? Yeah. So him, obviously, they believe in each other, and he got a lot of plays that's dialed up that he ain't called yet.
What do you want to see? Do you want to see a three-peat, or do you want to see somebody else knock off the champs?
I think it'll be a three-peat.
Oh yeah.
Is Patrick the greatest of all time then?
No, not yet. Brady got 7 rings.
That's right.
So it's all about the rings and not about the three-peat?
When it comes to the quarterback, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the three-peat, though, man. Like, that's where I am. You do something that nobody else has ever done before, right?
No, ain't nobody got 7 rings either.
That is true.
Hello.
Nobody's got that jacket either, man.
No.
So that's,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Shout out my people at Starter, man. They got me dripped up. Stay dripping. Yeah.
Cool, just making sure. We got 30 seconds.
Inside out.
Well, watch the jacket. Look at this guy.
They got me right.
All right,
You said you're doing a little singing, though. So, like, can we get a little song before we go?
What you want?
Whatever you want to sing.
Country road, take me home to a place I belong.
10 seconds.
West Virginia, mama, take me home.
5.
Country road.
Got Rich Rod back, baby.
That's right. Thanks, back, baby.
That was Pac-Man Jones. And, of course, all our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. That was fun. He's got a career in singing, apparently, in his jacket.
Seems like he's got a career in whatever the hell he wants
That's
to do right now. He's being Pac-Man Jones, and he's living the good life.
All right, well, we're told we got to hit a break, and then we come back. We'll have Denzel Ward join the show here on 96.5 The Fan, live from Radio Row. And you can find all the big game coverage here on 96.5 The Fan by Community America Credit Union. Community Credit, locally owned, CommunityCreditAmerica.com is the sponsor for the big game on 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
Yeah, I did.
Had too many friends that were fans and took over.
Well,
Yeah.
Congrats on the national championship.
Thank you. You too, my friend. Congratulations to us Buckeyes.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
outstanding, right?
For sure.
So my friend went to Ohio State in the 90s, right? And the more that he told me I couldn't root for Ohio State, the more I did. So now I'm vested. Ryan Day just signed an extension this morning. Another
did
3
he?
years.
Oh, okay.
Hey, you didn't know
Okay.
that,
I
right?
didn't
You
know
like
that.
that? Another 3 years added on. So
That's cool.
7-year deal now for Ryan Day. He'll be coaching through 2031 at our university. And so it started out really with Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm in love with Marvin Harrison Jr. You know, like I wanted the Chiefs to trade up to 3 or 2 to get Marvin, right, and bring him into the mix. And it just kind of snowballed from there. But you got to be feeling great. I mean, you're Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for your team. Your team wins the national championship. Life is good for Denzel Ward right now.
Life's
isn't it?
pretty good. Life's pretty good. So I'm enjoying it and having fun along the way.
What'd you think of Myles Garrett saying he was ready to be done, though, with the team that you're currently on?
Everybody says a lot, you know. It could just be talks right now, but, man, I'm just keeping an eye and see what he has going on. But hopefully he stays with the team. You know, Myles is my friend, great Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
And, man, I enjoy playing with him. So hopefully we can still keep him in Cleveland and go from there.
Two different quarterbacks, but two different questions. One, how great was it to be around Jameis Winston this year? Obviously, the snow game against Pittsburgh was kind of fun to watch, him acting like what we all would do. Is that energy just like you just want to soak it all in with Jameis?
Yeah, for sure. That energy is contagious.
Yeah.
Jameis is a great teammate, great player. I mean, all those viral videos you see, like that's literally who he is. Like
Right.
he's just a great guy and somewhat like great locker room guy and person you want on the team.
He seems like just the guy that just keeps it loose. Like, you're just
No,
going to have
definitely.
fun. Like, if Pence in a huddle, he just looks up and goes, come on, man, we're playing.
Yeah,
Or what,
no.
Like, he's just a good guy, right?
Yeah, he is. He's a great guy.
Speaking of a great guy, numbers-wise, Patrick Mahomes, obviously you play defense. You've gone up against him. What's the best way to stop Patrick Mahomes?
Man, I think it's really just understanding your personnel. So, like, for us, we had a man-to-man team. So, I think our best bet was playing man-to-man against those guys, playing tight coverage, and trying to get that pressure on the quarterback and being able to kind of eliminate those easy access throws. I know they're kind of throwing quick, but just taking away those reads right away. But, man, Mahomes, he's a Hall of Fame player as well, so he's going to find a way to
Well,
to
you're
make
on
something
your way,
happen.
too.
Yeah,
Four-time
I'm
Pro
trying.
Bowler.
I'm trying.
You're on the right path,
Yeah, I'm on
man.
the
You know what I
path.
mean?
I'm
So
on the path.
keep doing what you're doing in the league, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
you're doing great things, obviously, on and off the field, and I think that's important as well. You mentioned Hall of Fame player. You're wearing the Walter Payton Man of the Year hoodie there. That's a Hall of Famer right there. What drives you to be that Hall of Fame player off the field?
Man, off the field, I would think my mom and my dad. So sadly, my dad had passed away, so that really what started the foundation I created, a heart health foundation. And so just really want to give back, spread heart health awareness, and just represent the city of Cleveland, my community, as best way as I can.
No doubt. You got a pretty good basketball team this year. You getting all the games this year?
Yeah. I actually just went to the game before I came here.
Oh, so
I
you
went to
saw the Mitchell dunk on the
Cavs
Celtics.
Celtics? Yeah.
What'd that do for you?
Oh, that was crazy. That was crazy.
That's one thing I'll never do is be able to dunk the ball or hit a home run in Major League Stadium. But I do want to bring this up because this is Chiefs Philadelphia. A lot of talk saying Philadelphia's got the best roster, but the Chiefs have the best head coach quarterback. What say for you, Mr. Denzel Ward?
So say that again.
I'm sorry, what say for you, Mr.?
Like, who do I have?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Eagles. I think the Eagles are gonna have it. Like you said, the Chiefs, they do got a great team. Obviously, they didn't been there, but I don't want to see them three-peat. So I think the Eagles, but they got a good overall team, like just offense, quarterback position, receiver position, running back. So I think they're going to be tough to stop.
Denzel
there.
Ward's got the Eagles on record.
So are you tired of the Chiefs? Like you have Chiefs fatigue, like the rest of America
I got
does?
Chiefs fatigue for sure.
But if you have Chiefs fatigue, then somebody has to go out there and take care of business. Like
That is
nobody
true.
for the last decade has an answer for these guys.
That's true.
Why is that?
It's well deserved. I mean, you got, like I said, you got a Hall of Fame quarterback in Mahomes, a great coach in Andy Reid. And they just know how to win. They know how to win the big games, close games, and that's how you have winning football. Great teams.
How frustrating is that, though, for a player to be in those situations and think maybe you have them on the ropes and then, boom, they pull something out of their hat? Because I think they won, 11, one-score games or something like that,
Yeah, I mean, in the game, like, you just focus on trying to win the game, do your job, and then it's at the end of the game where you see, like, what goes what way, and then you just try to go back, coach it up, and man, see what kind of fix to do better next time.
When you come around this and you see all this, we won't keep you long. I know Denzel Ward, which is joining us right now. You're a busy man. I know you're doing Super Row or Radio Row, but like when you see this sort of thing, like how bad does it make you want to actually be in the game, and how much does that drive you for next year or the rest of your career to try to get to this point?
Man, it drives me so much. I enjoy talking to you guys, but
appreciate
I'd
it.
rather talk to you after the game, playing in the Super Bowl. So hopefully someday, I'm going to keep working and trying to get there. And I'll talk to you guys after we win the Super Bowl someday in Cleveland.
That's right. You got to go ahead.
No, as I say, that's got to be the goal. How do you guys get there? Because it seems like with Cleveland, you're up, and then it's down, then it's up. Like, how do you get over that hump and not be the same old Browns anymore, you know?
I think really it's consistency at the quarterback position, honestly, and just being able to solidify that. I mean, we still got to get better at other positions as well. But I know we got to play complementary football. I know a lot of games kind of one side may play well, then the other not play well. So just playing together as a team and find a way to compete, get back to the playoffs, and win some championships.
Hard to win without a legit quarterback in this league, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, and then you see Mahomes, you see Jalen Hurts, and I've asked everybody this, and I get various answers. Like, Mahomes three-peats, is he the greatest of all time?
He's in question. It's a debate for sure. He's up there, so it's a debate. Whoever you're talking to, he could be Brady. But, man, he's putting up a good record to go and say that he's the best, though.
Sitting down here with Denzel Ward. We appreciate the time, man. Good luck with everything. The Walter Payton Award. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
Stay healthy. Have a good
sir.
future, man.
Appreciate
You're on your way to the Hall of Fame, man.
Thank
That
you,
is
man.
Denzel Ward. And we will be joined later on by Alex Gold. But, again, that's later on in the show. That was Denzel Ward of the Cleveland Browns, cornerback, four-time All-Pro, Walter Payton Finalist of the Year Award. And all our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. What a nice young man he was.
Great guy, man. Yeah. Absolutely awesome. And the Man of the Year is awarded tonight. Tonight's the NFL Honors. We'll find out if Andy Reid is Coach of the Year. We'll find out if Patrick Mahomes is not the MVP. Well, we'll find out, like, all the awards that are going to be given out. That gets done tonight. That gets announced tonight. I think the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, obviously, is one of those that I think is one of the highest honors you can get as a player in the NFL, because it means you're doing so much and giving back and thinking about others and not really caring about yourself. And so that's Denzel Ward. He is the nominee for the Cleveland Browns. It was cool to kind of get his perspective, and I don't know if you heard what his answer was. We got to stabilize that quarterback position. Doesn't sound like a lot of people in Cleveland are excited about the possibility of having their quarterback, the creeper, back on the roster.
I was telling you, man, like there was talk of that organization that everybody's done. Especially the players. Like the last game of the year, the Baltimore Ravens were a 21-point favorite, and a lot of people had said the reason why the Ravens were favored so much, A, they were the team to beat in the AFC at the time,
right?
And two, the team was done. They'd had enough. You talk about Chiefs fatigue.
Yeah.
They were Watson fatigued.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. So,
I mean, could you imagine it, though, every day being on that team in Cleveland, knowing that, this is our quarterback, this is what the organization invested in, and we're not getting any sort of opportunity to win because this guy's a douche. And, I mean, I can't imagine having the opportunity to go into an NFL game. Like that's like real legit stuff, man. You're going into an NFL game, and you got 52 other guys going, we got this guy as our – this is supposed to be the leader of everything that's going on, and it's just – it wasn't – I hate to use the term fair, but it just wasn't fair to the other 52 players on the roster to saddle that guy up as your quarterback.
Something tells me he's probably going to play for somebody else besides Cleveland in the next couple of years.
Who are you talking about, Denzel?
I think the way he was talking about quarterback, the way he was talking about Myles Garrett being a great friend, and the way that he has a potential Hall of Fame career – my betting odds would say that he might be somewhere else besides Cleveland if they do blow up.
Well, you were going to say, I thought you were going to say Deshaun Watson may be playing for somebody else. Look, I think he's done. He has to be done.
Yes!
He needs to be done in the NFL. That guy should not be allowed to be on another team in the NFL. But you know how owners are and people are in this league. They get kind of blinded by things. But I think we've seen enough from Watson to understand he's a creep off the field and he's no good on the field.
Yes!
Somebody who's not a creep, who I miss dearly seeing them, is Alex Gold as we get into our Goldilocks here on Fescoe and Dusty.
Welcome back to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. It's time for Golden Locks with Alex Gold.
Gotta figure out how to make money on this thing. It's simply too good.
That's right. Alex Gold joining us now, holding down the fort back in KC. Mr. Gold, the host of that betting show.
Which one?
That one, Bob.
There he is. There he is.
What's going on, guys? We were doing a little over-under in the office, Dusty.
Yeah.
Over-under on time out last night for you on the streets of, I don't know, Canal Street, Hurricanes over-under. The totals were set very high. People were worried about your voice today.
So last night was the group consensus of a stay and chill in night. So we had a Chili Davis night last night. We kind of sat on the rooftop, enjoyed the city, had some vino, had some Cutwaters. Probably stayed up a little later than I should have. But let me tell you something, Daddy. Tonight, you can hammer that over on Hurricanes. Tomorrow, you can definitely hammer that over on Hurricanes and parlay it with some grenades as well. So I want to tell you this. Start betting now, but if you want to lean on me and get some insider information and Likens locks, yeah, you can hammer those overs on drinks. I can tell you that much, baby.
All right, noted. Yeah, I definitely will. How have you guys taken advantage of the betting? Bob, you were saying that the parishes, it's set up a little weird down there, but it's legal to wager. Have you guys partook in some wagers yet?
Not yet. I think it's too early in the week to do all that. I mean, I think with this Super Bowl and everything that's coming up, I think it's kind of wait till Sunday kind of thing and see how this whole thing plays out. And there's still the possibility of an Eagle player getting lost in the French Quarter or something like that. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen, right?
So, Gold, last night, I'll tell you this. I found out the hard way. So I did bet some college basketball last night.
Which is stupid.
I bet Tennessee to win, hit it.
All right.
Hit Duke 17.5. They crushed their opponent. But I could not bet player props in the state of Louisiana for college basketball players. So that was one thing that I noticed. I don't think it's the same for the NFL, but no college player props last night on DraftKings.
There's a lot of states that do that, and there's more states that are talking about doing that because of the harassment stuff that's gone on, unfortunately, with people not being able to handle losing their own money that they put on the line, and instead they would rather DM 18-year-old kids. It's pretty pathetic, but that's why stuff is going to be changing, I think, even in a state like Kansas perhaps in the future as well. We'll see where you may not be able to bet on college players. That's going to be a new trend, I think, and you'll see a lot of lawmakers pushing for that over the next couple of years.
You don't think that'll go towards the professional ranks, though, do you?
I don't, except we might see some tweaks like we saw in the NBA, which after the Jonte Porter mess, which is if you're a two-way player that you're going to not be able to bet on unders for certain players in a game like basketball. In the NFL, it's much tougher to do that. But in basketball, like I can tell you to bet on an under like Jonte Porter did, and I can pull myself out of a game, or I can intentionally miss a shot. Much harder to do that in some other sports.
Yeah, I think, too, though, college, guys aren't making as much money as they are in the pros, so I definitely understand that. Jonte Porter's just an idiot. I mean, there's just no other way to put it.
Yeah, no question. And it, I know people will on one hand will say, hey, it's legalized now. Sports wagering is. That's why there's so many more incidents. I still will argue the reason why we're finding out about the Jonte Porter mess and some of these other scandals that are happening and being investigated is because there are legal frameworks in place now, unlike before. Like, there's been betting scandals since the 30s,
right.
In 1930s. Like, it doesn't, that's been going on. We just now are able to identify some of them, and here we are in 2025, and last week I told you guys the estimates would be out for how many dollars are going to be wagered legally. I saw it from the American Gaming Association, $1.39 billion on the Super Bowl expected to be wagered. Last year it was $1.14 billion.
Wow.
So let's get into the fun stuff instead of the negative stuff here. Let's talk about that huge game that everybody can listen to on 96.5 The Fan. They can also listen to you guys from 10 to 2 today as well. Gold, what is the lock? What is the hammer bet that people can have on this year's Super Bowl 59?
So my favorite bet for the game is Kareem Hunt over 11.5 rush attempts. This is still even money. It's plus 102. It was this way last week as well. 3 of the last 5 games, Kareem Hunt has gone over it. We've all seen how they've utilized him compared to Isaiah Pacheco. He's the feature back, even if Isaiah Pacheco's going to get the first few snaps in the scripted 15 on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. So Kareem Hunt, I think he's getting 14 or 15 carries in this game. I'm staying away from the yardage. I'm not trusting that he's going to have 60 or 70 yards necessarily. But I do love the Kareem Hunt over 11.5 rush attempts. And then the other rush attempt bet that I really like is Mahomes over 6.5 rush attempts. It's plus money, plus 110. The thought process behind that is in the postseason, his scramble rate, even on non-design runs, which we know they designed a couple 2 weeks ago against Buffalo. In the playoffs, the scramble rate goes up to 15%. In the regular season, it's only 6%. And in the postseason, in all the games Mahomes has played since 2018, he leads all players in postseason scramble yards, first downs, and touchdowns. And those would be touchdowns on the ground as well. So those are two of my favorite ones right out of the gate.
And then, of course, you get 3 rushing attempts and 3 kneel downs at the end as well, right?
Exactly, Bob. That's the thing. Even if you're worried and it's the fourth quarter and he only has 4 or 5 rush attempts, if the Chiefs are in position to win this thing, you're exactly right. You're going to get another 2 or 3.
Yeah, just by the kneel downs alone. So what are you kind of staying away from? Like, what should people, like, maybe they're looking at it, it's got a flashy light, it's got something cool. What are we staying away from in this game?
Well, if you're thinking about betting Saquon over-unders, I think last week we hit on, waiting on some of those yardage numbers. I have not bet Saquon. I'm staying away still, but I'm going to wait till Sunday. You guys are talking about betting on Sunday. I think that's the right move for Saquon props if you're looking to bet the under. And we know the track record. You guys have talked about it this week as well as Spags in the postseason, and they don't give up, big run plays. They don't give up 100-yard rushers in the postseason and everything like that. Depending on the book, Saquon's number is anywhere from 109.5 to 113.5. I'm going to end up betting the under, I can just tell you, but that's one I'm staying away from right this second because I want to see if this thing goes up. The other one would be if you haven't bet the Chiefs yet, -1.5. I was talking to somebody on that betting show last night, and
Which one?
That one, and they were saying, Bob, that this weekend we could see a lot of Philly money come in, and what that would mean would be suddenly this 1.5 becomes 1 or better. So I think the line move might go towards Philly, and if that's the case, you could end up getting a better number on the Chiefs and even a better money line number on the Chiefs come closer to kickoff.
Call me crazy, Alex, and I know you have for as long as you've known me. I think the under for Barkley is the lock of the Super Bowl. I don't know. That's just the way I've kind of felt all week. The more people tell me that Saquon Barkley's going to do this, that, and the other thing, the more I'm like, okay, Spags has got a game plan for this. This is when the Chiefs thrive. I just feel like that's the lock of the week, and I could be totally wrong.
I mean, I like the bet. I don't know. A lock is tough only because Saquon is capable, as you guys know. I mean, he could have 40 yards in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden it's a 60-yard run, and boom, he's at 100, and you're in danger. But Spags and this Chiefs team, they just don't give up those kind of runs very often. So it's definitely a bet I like. One other one for you guys real quick. At Noah Gray, last week we were joking about the 2 touchdowns and the value on that, 110 to 1. Noah Gray, 2 or more touchdowns. It's down to 70 to 1 at FanDuel. It's down to 30-something to 1 at the other books.
They're listening.
I still like Noah Gray, 2 or more touchdowns. And you might as well. It doesn't even take him having 6 catches for 100 yards for this all to hit.
2.
This is what we're talking about here. Noah Gray over 1.5 receptions is plus 110. All right, he gets 2 catches. You can what they call ladder that, meaning then you bet 3 or more catches, it's 3 to 1. 4 or more catches is 9 to 1. You do Noah Gray to have a single touchdown at 5 to 1. So you bet these all separately, and if Noah Gray even has 4 catches, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns, you hit every single one of those bets. He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. He was not targeted in the Bills game 2 weeks ago, which is why you're getting good numbers. But this is not a guy that's just been on the bench all year either. I think we're getting good value on all these.
Alex, are there odds out there on Doug Gottlieb's players all quitting on him as he is hosting Radio Row instead of coaching his team during the basketball season?
I could not believe that he is actually on Radio Row. It's one thing to do your radio show during a basketball season, and I don't know. Have they won 4 games
2.
yet?
They got 2 wins. This douche is over here doing Radio Row, and he's a head basketball coach. So I don't know if there's odds on him getting fired or his players walking out. There's got to be something like that in the betting world, right?
Yeah, you can go ahead and set that line at minus money for sure. I think we're trending towards minus 1,000 right now on him not having a job here very soon with Wisconsin Green Bay.
Gold, I want one more with you because I know you guys got to do your show stuff and we got to hit a break. But a bet I think that you always tend to like, or you kind of do these. You're like me. You try to find the little nugget or whatever, the needle in the haystack. What are the odds that Patrick Mahomes has the longest run from scrimmage over Saquon Barkley in this game?
Well, so last night on the show, we were talking about Saquon's longest rush, kind of liking the under on that, to Bob's point about just how we think Saquon may or may not run. I think Saquon's longest rush prop was in the 20s. Is Mahomes going to rattle off a 20-plus yard run? I don't have the number in front of me. He's probably done that 2 times 3 times maybe in the postseason against Philly in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then obviously the AFC title game against Tennessee back in 2019, I think it was. So I don't know what the odds would be on that. It's probably not my favorite bet, but I get what you're saying. It's definitely in play. I was just going to say real quick, I know you got a break.
No, you're good.
The other one would just be in the Super Bowls, the Chiefs have had guys with 5 to 1 or worse odds score touchdowns consistently in 3 of the wins. So Mahomes in 2020 was 5 to 1. He scored a touchdown. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney in 2023 were 8 to 1 and 7.5 to 1. They got a touchdown. Last year, McCole Hardman had the walk-off touchdown. He was 13 to 1. So basically, if you think the trend continues, somebody with 5-1 or worse odds to get a touchdown is scoring one in this game Sunday. Noah Gray fits that. D-Hop fits it. Juju, Samaje Perine. That's the territory we're talking about.
I'll go with Justin Watson then if that's the case, because I bet his numbers
works too.
juicy.
Watson, yes!
That's right, Gold. Hey, have a good show. Can't wait to get back in town and see you guys. Hope you're holding down the fort pretty well, and I'm hoping that I can hit you those overs on those drinks on this evening and tomorrow.
I love it. Keep it up, guys.
Yes,
Great
sir.
to see the coverage. Thanks.
That's right. Thanks to Alex Gold, who joins us. He'll be on from 10 to 2 with Cody and Drew on 96.5 The Fan. And don't forget, we are broadcasting live from Radio Row in New Orleans, thanks to our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, drink responsible. I don't know if you know this or not. We got one show and one segment left here on Radio Row, and then it's
I'm
it's
telling
game
you
time,
what,
baby.
24 hours and 20 minutes till I'm hammered on Bourbon Street.
Who's counting down?
Me.
There you go. That's Bob Fescoe, Dusty Likens, Mac Morey, all with you here on 96.5 The Fan. You're home for Kansas City Sports.
You're listening to Fescoe and
You're clear.
live
All right,
from
I
New
got
Orleans.
park and go.
Park and go here in 20
Andy Reid.
The first really year to 2 years I was with Coach Reid, I was like, man, this guy's not messing around. Like, there wasn't too much of the personality that I see now, knowing that he's like a father figure to me. He's like, I don't know, one of my uncles growing up that I respect so much because of who he is. And I owe everything to that man and my career and where it's gone, where I was at Cincinnati and where I am now.
5 seconds.
Nothing but respect for Coach Reid and how he's helped me get to where I am in life.
I mean, he owes it all to Andy Reid, and that's a big reason why I believe this team does go out there and win this game on Sunday, because they're not playing for themselves. They're playing for the greater good, and the greater good is the team, is the city, is the region, and everybody that's a Chiefs fan. They're not going out there to try to put up numbers. They're not going out there to try to wow everybody. And I think, that's where a lot of people kind of get lost with the Chiefs. Over the last couple of years, I was talking to our friends in Houston this morning about that. They're like, man, it just hasn't been that same style of offense and whatnot. I go, no, it hasn't, and that's okay, because guys aren't trying to go out there and win, or not trying to go out there and put up numbers. They're trying to go out there and win, and they don't care how they win. That's the beauty of this team. There are so many guys in the NFL. We could say Deshaun Watson's on that list, who's just a me guy, and we see how me guys just infest and ruin an organization. They infest and ruin every organization, no matter what you do for a living. These me guys take over, and they corrupt you. And we don't have that in Kansas City, and that's all because of Andy Reid. And I think these guys want to win that Super Bowl for Andy. They want to win it for Patrick. They want to win it for the city. And if they score a touchdown and put up some numbers along the way, fantastic. But it's not about any of that. And that's what I think is driving a lot of people to go Looney Tunes about this Chiefs team, is because they're not putting up the numbers, but yet they still find ways to win because they know how to win.
Seems like many, many moons ago we had Hugh Douglas, who sits back-to-back to you here on Radio Row, and he talked about it. He was like, when Kelsey just said that audio, it reminded me of that interview on Monday. It seems, like we said, like we did it a year ago, but he said he wanted to kind of like ruffle Andy's feathers, and he said something just loud enough in the huddle during practice, and Andy came up to him and kind of gave him the business, and Hugh said, he goes, I knew that he wasn't messing around. Travis Kelsey says, his first 2 years he's with Kansas City, he's like, man, this guy ain't messing around, and that's the way it goes, and we see that throughout in many different forms of Andy Reid, right? Like, you fumble the ball. What's he going to do? Remember when Kareem Hunt fumbled the ball in his first,
right back out there.
Right back out there. Now, if you were a repeat offender, you may not see the field again. That rubbed LaShawn McCoy the wrong way, but it wasn't Andy Reid. It was because he got mad at Eric Bieniemy, but Eric Bieniemy is doing exactly what Andy Reid would tell him to do, which is go get in his ass and tell him, stop fumbling the ball. You're a pro.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid, look, this is, the day before we do our final Red Friday show before the Super Bowl. And the thing about this is that when you think about Andy Reid and how it works and how you go 14-3 or you go 15-2 or you're always in the Super Bowl, you're going for your three-peat, it's because every piece of the puzzle has to be diligently fit just right. It starts in St. Joe. It goes on to the preseason. It's the same stuff. And we act like we get tired of it, the starters are going to play the first half. They're not, but he keeps it the same. Time's yours. We look ready for the challenge. We do all these things. We respect that team over there. That's a really good team over there. Even if that team is 2-12, it's the same stuff, and it works, and it's perfect for what this league needs, which is adapt, be critical, and it's like Hendershot said, Dallas was all about a show.
Right.
Kansas City's all about football and winning. You cannot deny that when your team goes 15-2 on the back of back-to-back and on the brink of a three-peat.
Well, and also, too, the involvement of Andy Reid. I sent you guys a video real early this morning where it was a video from, Andy Reid's first or second year in the league.
Right.
And probably his first year in the league. It was a preseason game, Jets and Eagles. And Bill Parcells was talking to Andy Reid. And Bill Parcells was like, I don't know who this guy is. I've never met this guy before, but I do know how to be a coach in the NFL. And I'll always be there for you. If you need any help, you can always call me. Imagine that, being a coach in the NFL, your first go-around, and Bill Parcells is saddling up to you and say, call me anytime. And Andy goes, no, I think I'll be okay, or whatever the case may be. And Parcells looks at him and says, you don't have a very good football team, and you're coaching in Philadelphia. You're not going to be okay. So here's my number. Call me when you need help. I think they started 0-4 or 0-5 that year, and Parcells calls Andy Reid and said, hey, you haven't called yet. Andy Reid goes, no, I'm locked in an office. I'm hiding under a desk. Oh, my God. And now we're looking at Andy Reid as the cool, calm, collected guy, and the way that he leads an organization. And you just wonder how much he's learned over the years, because it looked like and sounded like a completely different Andy Reid when he was telling this Bill Parcells story from about 20 years ago. But you think about those moments and starting 0-4 or 0-5 or whatever it was in Philly, and he's allegedly hiding under a desk, to where he is today, how he evolved as a head coach and how he grew as a head coach and how he became better. I don't think anybody in the coaching profession, in my opinion, that I have seen has evolved like Andy Reid has evolved. He has changed with the times. He didn't make the times change with him, and that's why he's still sitting here winning football games, and Belichick's, buying pizzas for fraternity guys.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Andy Reid, he's a brother, he's a father figure, he's a coach, he's a best friend. It's contagious, it works, and every time somebody comes back to see Andy, it's always a hug, a smile, and a story. We'll give you our best story tomorrow as we wrap up Radio Row here. We are live, broadcast Radio Row in New Orleans. Thanks to our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor for the Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. Go do something nice for somebody today. You never know. Could change their day, week, month, or their year. Kansas City, it is simply cool to care. Stay safe, stay kind, stay true to yourself, and listen to Cody Gold and Drew from 10 to 2.
You're clear. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Can you ask them if they want me on this at 10:40 or if they're going to call me?
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty, live from New Orleans at Radio Row, brought to you by Bud Light.
TBD, we're going to ask them right now.
City Chiefs.
I'll stay
Bud
on the
Light,
headset.
Easy to drink.
Cool, thanks.
Enjoy, drink responsibly, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy